Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-List competition. Online at stlmag.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie-Frey Show.
It is the Annie-Frey Show. My name is Mike Elam. Back in for Annie today. You get to bookend with me today. So you started your week with me and you end your week with me. That means it's a Mike Elam bookend. The things that you get to enjoy. Sorry.
It's the little things in life, Mike.
It is. It's the things that make you happy. Hey, hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you have had a great week. Judging by the traffic on the way down here from God's country in St. Charles to God's forsaken country in St. Louis City.
Gotta go a little bit farther east to get to God's forsaken country.
I don't know, man. I've been further east than this, and it starts getting on the upside when you get to your part of Illinois, right?
Well, that's true.
It starts. It kind of valleys.
And then it crashes back down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the bluff that fools you.
You thought everything was going well. Well, not so much. But judging by the way traffic was, I'm guessing a lot of people have Good Friday off. So Good Friday to you. Today is your last day if you're Catholic, or is it just Catholics who eat fish on Fridays?
As far as I know, because Annie's Lutheran, and I asked her if they do that, and she said no.
I'm Baptist. We eat meat all the time.
Yeah.
So the Baptist, there's food involved. There may not be alcohol
Casserole.
if there's more than one Baptist around.
That's
If there's only
correct.
one Baptist, there's a lot of alcohol involved. But if there's more than one Baptist involved, there may not be alcohol involved. But there is always food, especially if you're Southern Baptist, because that's just part of the culture, man. I grew up potlucking my life away.
Fellowship means potlucks and casseroles.
Fellowship means food. That is exactly what it means. You cannot have fellowship without food. That's exactly the way it goes today. So hope you have big plans for Easter. I have got my daughters coming home from college today. I'm very excited about that.
Where does she go to school?
UCM. So I see you've got Lindenwood represented today.
I do.
So-
I did not go there, but I'm representing them anyway.
So I am a Lindenwood grad, so I'm very excited
okay.
that you have that. And my oldest son is a Lindenwood grad. My daughter, though, decided she wanted to get a little further away from home. And I'm like, that's a good idea. I really think you need to get out and enjoy the culture right? So when you go to college, you need to be far enough away from your parents that you can feel some independence, but close enough to your parents so if something really bad happens, they can get to you.
That's funny because whenever I went to college, I went to college all the way in Creve Coeur.
Wow. That's a whole county and state away from where you were.
Yeah.
At least my daughter stayed in state. She didn't go all the way to another state.
Yeah.
Crossing that Illinois
But
state line.
Whenever I was going to college, I was also already married and living on my own.
Wait, you went to college? What college is in Creve Coeur?
Mobap.
Oh.
I'm a Spartan.
I didn't realize Mobap was Creve Coeur. For some reason, I was thinking Mobap was Chesterfield.
No.
It's just before Chesterfield Valley.
And now it's Mormon Mobap. So you've got to. I remember when Mobap sold that land to the Mormon church, and they built that tabernacle there. That so many people were so mad at them for doing that. I'm like, they're not using it, you know. And the Mormons built a beautiful building, and I didn't get to. Did you guys go in when that? Well, you were probably really young when that got built, but
When what?
When the Mormons built that big tabernacle
the
that
Mormon
they have.
temple out there.
The Mormon temple. Yes, that's what they have. I'm thinking tabernacle because of the choir, right? The Mormon Tabernacle Choir. So obviously, I need a religious studies class because I'm not doing well in my Mormon terminology. But they had open tours for a while. And when they first built it, you could come in and you could go see it because everybody's kind of like, wow, Mormon. I have no idea what that means.
But after that,
they shut it down.
And you have to be temple worthy. Now, the interesting thing is they strip everything out of the inside of it. And after they open it to the public so you can come in and see what's going on, when they close it down, they strip the inside of it and they redo it.
Really?
Yes, to sanctify the temple.
Wow.
Because all you heathens walk through the building. So we gotta
Mike
clear
said
it
it,
up.
not me.
Hey, I'm just saying. No, I got nothing but love for anybody for whatever religion you are, right? That's between you and God. Whatever religion that you pick, there'll be an answer one day whether you picked well or not. So I'll let you go ahead and you make that decision, right? I've expressed my opinion. You go make your own. I'm all about free will. So you go with that. But I assume Mormons celebrate Easter, right?
I'm not sure.
They're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
So I'm going to say, yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes on that. I'm sure I probably just lit somebody up, and that's going to show up on the feed here in just a second.
Yep.
We do have a feed on. If you haven't seen it, then you can flip on and watch us. You may notice we're missing a voice today. Mr. Wiggins has decided to take Good Friday off for religious reasons, I'm sure. Probably not. But anyway. Maybe. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So he is not with us today. We will not have a Wiggins America that happens today, but we will try to get through our Friday despite that. We do have Kurt Barr, who is the Election Authority Director for St. Charles County. He's going to be with us a little bit later on this hour. Wanted to talk with Kurt because there has been a lot of talk about election integrity. And want to see, what did he see in this election? I'm curious to see what was the final tally in terms of percent of registered voters who turned out in St. Charles. I'm going to guess that it was probably similar around the region from a percentage-wise. Normally, in these municipal elections, you have a 7 to 10% that come out. I know, 7 to 10%. And this is why you always have tax increases are on the ballot in April, because you just need to get your people out. If you want that tax increase done, you just need to get your people out in a simple majority, and then everybody's paying the additional taxes. And then they come back later and they complain about their taxes. And I'm like, he was on the ballot in April.
There's more elections than just the presidential election.
You had a chance to say no, and you chose to be apathetic and not go vote. So tell you what, why don't you just sit down and have a shut up sandwich right about now, and let's not talk about your taxes because you've let someone else vote it through.
Does Missouri have no excuse early voting?
We do, and that's the other thing that I want to find out about. This was the first election, I believe, that 2 weeks leading into the election, this was the first time that you had no excuse early voting. Like people didn't show up before and say, oh, well, I'm going to be out of town that day. Of course you are. Out of town means I live in St. Charles and I'll be in O'Fallon, right? So I won't be able to make it
At the lake.
all the way over to at the lake in O'Fallon. I'll be over there. So I'm not going to be able to make it in. So this is our first time to have the no excuse early voting for 2 weeks. I'm curious to see if that changed anything. Did we see a lot of the early voting? I saw an article. I saw an interview, I guess about a week ago, where they were asking Donald Trump about, hey, this whole early voting and how all this thing has been going around the country. And he said, hey, Republicans have got to get on board with this. You got to figure it out, man, because the Democrats have got the rules set how they want them, and they have organized to hit that. So Republicans can't sit back and go, we should only vote on election day. Well, if that's not the rule, you can say this is how it should be, but you need to understand how it is.
Right.
And understanding how it is allows you to formulate a plan to get your folks out and cast their votes.
We've talked about this a lot in the past on this show, where it's like the analogy that I use is like, well, you don't like that football has the forward pass, so you refuse to use it.
Right.
Well, you're just hamstringing and handicapping yourself.
That explains why they have 11 guys on the line, because you refuse to throw the ball.
Right.
Gee, I wonder what you're going to do. I know how to shut that down.
So the thing is you've got to play the game as the rules are structured,
right,
and win with those rules. And then once you win, then you can alter the rules.
Right. If I've talked to people about this before, people who run for office, and it's interesting. A lot of people who are candidates for office overshare, and you can't overshare for two reasons. One, once you get in the office, I guarantee you're going to learn more information than what you knew, and you probably don't fully understand the process. So once you get in and you start understanding the process, you understand that at most levels of politics, it's not an individual sport. It's a team game. And you have to have a majority that will vote together to get anything done. If you go there and say, well, I believe blah, 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 and I'm going to get this done. Well, if you're a voice in the wilderness, no one's going to agree with you, and you're not going to get anything done. And then you can stand there and throw rocks and blame all the other people. Meanwhile, nothing gets done. So don't paint yourself in a corner. Talk about the things that you believe in, but don't get super specific, because it's going to come back to bite you in the butt later when you start finding out, oh, wow, I wish I hadn't said that because I can't do that. And I didn't know I couldn't do that. Like, yeah, that's probably something you need to figure out. But you've got to be elected to get a seat at the table. You can't do anything about it if you don't have a seat at the table. You can be influential and you can have your voice heard and you can let people know how you feel, but you don't have a vote. So you've got to get elected so you can sit at the table and you can actually affect policy change. That's really the way that we do it.
And then once you have a seat at the table, you have to be able to persuade others at that table to see things your way. So you have to be likable.
Well, and that's one of the things I want to see what's going to happen, because St. Charles County has been talking a lot about school boards for the last couple of years, and that has been the hot topic. Well, they basically ran the table in St. Charles County with the Republican Party getting their candidates in, especially in Francis Allen, Wentzville. Whoosh, just ran the table. Got 1 out of 3 in Fort Zumwalt, and I think 1 out of 3 in St. Charles. I need to go back and look at St. Charles. Kurt can tell us more about that when he gets here. But now you're in, right? You've got a seat at the table. You're all ready to go. The question's going to be, what are you going to do now that you have the seat, right? It's easy to throw rocks when you sit in the peanut gallery.
Right.
But now you're at the table, right? The thing we saw with the Republicans when they won the House and the Senate, and we had Donald Trump as president, we did a crappy job of governing. I mean, if you own it all, run it all, and figure out how to do that, right? So from time to time, we as a party just drop the ball when it comes to that part. So we've got to get better at making sure that we can govern and not just throw rocks.
Sometimes I wonder if, like what you were just talking about there is coming together, I wonder if that's a part of just the philosophical individualistic nature of Republicans.
True.
You know, where you see Democrats move in a block.
They do.
Where Republicans are more scattered just by nature. They believe in individual rights and stuff like that, and they're less likely to just all get on board. Especially,
we are more likely to put that another way, to shoot our own. We do it on a regular basis. You know, Reagan said, "Never speak ill of a fellow Republican." Boy, that went out. Out the bus a long time ago, right? Oh, geez, we will throw each other under the bus left and right. And the Democrats sit back and go, we don't really have to do anything. We'll just put you guys together in a circle and let you shoot each other. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, we do. I wish we wouldn't, but, you know, we play the game of I'm more conservative to you, or you're not conservative enough to be called a Republican. And I'm like, you do realize the candidate with the most votes wins, right? So I get you may not like, you know, that person's not as conservative as you are, but they're a heck of a lot more conservative than the liberal Democrat. That is the other option.
Well, and the other part of that is, too, is I think that if you have a healthy election process, the candidate should represent or be a good representation of the makeup of their constituents.
Right.
So there are Republicans out there that aren't as conservative.
Yeah, because the hardcore guy's not going to get elected
like
there.
On a national stage, I think of like a Susan Collins.
Right. Or Lisa Murkowski.
Yeah.
Bad choice, because I still think Lisa Murkowski.
Yeah, I don't think she accurately represents.
Despite what I just
her
said,
constituents.
I'm gonna throw Lisa Murkowski under the bus.
But I think Susan Collins,
hypocrite party of one.
Susan Collins absolutely does, because she's in Maine,
right?
And so understanding that, being able to understand that, you know, as a representative, as a member of this legislative body or council or whatever it is,
right?
You're representing a whole vast swath of people, and not everybody wants exactly what you want.
Right. Sometimes it takes a broader coalition to get stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get there. Kurt BAHR is actually out in the parking lot. I was just told. So we'll get Kurt in here. We'll talk about elections in just a little bit. I was down the hall before you start rolling that music underneath me. I was down the hall earlier and was talking to Rachel from the David Glover show, and she had her Easter candy laid out in front of her.
Oh, yeah?
And she was eating that, and she's like, have you had these eggs, these chocolate eggs? And I'm like, no. And she goes, oh, they're addictive. I'm going to sit here and eat this whole bag. I got to get these things away from me, which I'm like, I can appreciate that. You don't build a body like this by passing on snacks, right? It happens. But it leads right into our YouTube poll of the day, which, Hannah, is?
The YouTube poll today, the YouTube poll question is asking, of these choices, which is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Eggs, a chocolate bunny, or Reese's Eggs. So you can vote on that on our YouTube page. Leave a comment on our live stream. We have some people pretty fired up about these poll choices that I've read so far. So we will read those results at 2:45, and I will read my favorite comments. I have a few of them ready. But yeah, that is our poll question. What is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Eggs, chocolate bunnies, or Reese's Eggs?
So people get fired up about their candies, man.
Oh, they do.
They do.
They stand behind them.
We are the fattest country in the world, I think. So we get fired up about that. Hey, we are going to get fired up about elections, and we're going to talk to Kurt BAHR about that on the other side. My name is Mike Elam. Thanks for hanging out on this Good Friday. By the way, the Mark Reardon Show is going to be out in O'Fallon today at a fish fry.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo! I will be coming out there and eating some fish with them a little bit later on. But in the meantime, this is the Annie-Frey Show. You're listening to 97.1 FM.
To design your dream ring at your dream payment. Announcing all new aggressive financing options up to 60 months. These new creative plans allow you to pick your payment so you don't have to compromise on that engagement ring. We know that just like that ideal engagement ring, one size doesn't fit all. You want choices, alternatives, options, and as always, we want to empower you every step of the way. Diamonds Direct's multitude of finance options now allow you to spread your payments up to 5 years. Pay nothing down or pay a lot down. You decide. Get a $400 a month payment or a $200 a month payment. it's your choice. So you can get the most beautiful engagement ring and have money left over for other fun things like a tropical honeymoon or decorating the house. And by the way, it's not just for engagement rings. You can use these flexible financing options for wedding bands, designer jewelry, gifts for any occasions. At Diamonds Direct, we're always finding ways to help you make your money go farther. Your love, our passion. Get directions, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC. And they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based off incomplete or outdated information, so don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jules on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jules on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jules on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jules on Hampton your first stop. Jules on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here because you clearly have a refined palate. St. Louis is home for conservative talk. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
I just want to use your love tonight.
I hate to cut this song before you hear the drum beat. Don't do it. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Waiting for you to sing it, Mike.
There we go.
All right, that's all I was waiting on. I can sing the drum beat. I'm really good at that part. No, that's it.
You got a whole air drum set over there.
Oh, huge. I get 2 snare drums. It's so big. Hey, it's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie Frey today. It's Good Friday. Hope you're having a good Friday. I always love sitting in here because these guys are great to work with, but it's fun to be on the radio in the middle of the day. I never get to be on the radio in the middle of the day, right?
Best time slot.
It is. This is the best shift to have in radio because it's the only shift in radio you can have a regular life, right? Everybody else.
Woohoo!
and Hannah's getting ready to just destroy that because she's about ready to get up at the butt crack of dawn every day.
The flip side of that, though, is when news breaks, it breaks during our show.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to break some news right now. So Kurt BAHR is joining us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Mike. Thanks for having me.
He is the St. Charles County Election Authority Director. Did I say that? Is that really your title? Did I?
Yeah. Director of Elections, St. Charles County.
Director of Elections. Okay. It's some similarity of that wording that I always say when I refer to you. And then I thought, I don't know if I actually get your title right most of the time or not. But you're in charge of the elections in St. Charles County. So obviously we just had an election on Tuesday.
We did.
And Republicans did really well in St. Charles County. Go figure. That never happens, right?
Well, in April, in the municipal elections, it hasn't been the case for a while, even in St. Charles County.
Well, I mean, traditionally in April, we don't talk about whether you're Republican or Democrat, hence the term nonpartisan elections. But this year, that was not the case. Like everybody was saying, these are Republicans, these are Democrats, and everybody was self-identifying this year.
So it's interesting. This election, I've had more voters say, why isn't a person's party on the ballot? Why do I not know if this person is a Republican or Democrat? Which was unusual because oftentimes it's the opposite. It's like, why do we have to vote by party? Why can't I vote for everything?
Right.
And then we have seen, certainly in St. Charles County, the Republicans were running as slates. They were like, we are the conservatives, and we're running together. Their signage was together. In one school district, they even filed at the same time so that they were in order on the ballot.
2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm. And so they definitely focused more on working as a cohesive group, say, hey, this is the group. And then you would see that there was the other group that was also running because, like, hey, we're the non-Republicans or non-conservatives running as a group. And you saw in this election, you saw the conservatives tended to all either win together. We had just last year, it was I think one Republican, it was only 2 seats open in the Winsville School District. One Republican won and one non-Republican won.
But they had 4 Republicans who were running.
They had 4 Republicans. Exactly.
Yeah.
So they had, not all of them could have one.
Right.
And there was, angst. They say, hey, why is it, we ran as a slate. Why did this other person, win? I'm like, well, they have a PhD behind their name. Running for an education, school board.
Tends to help.
It tends to help. And so, yeah, I think just at the local level, Republicans are just learning to do a better grassroots campaign.
Well, and before you always had sort of the teachers union candidates, the NEA candidates, if you will, because with school boards for the longest time, it is so hard to raise money to run for school board. Nobody really gives you money to run for school board. But if you were the NEA candidate, they had money to put behind you. So they paid for those block signs that you used to have of 2 or 3 that you saw all the time. So there's a group of, I know, Francis Howe families, Winsville families, they all got together and said, enough of this. We've seen how this works. And they laid out a successful template for you to follow with the NEA and saying, take your people, put them all on a slate, don't run them individually, run them all together as a group. You can split cost. It's a lot cheaper. I mean, to put 3 names on one sign is a whole lot cheaper than making 3 signs with one name. And they got together and did fundraising for them. They ran a regular election, not a traditional school board election. And it worked out really well. I mean, clean slate, Francis Howe, clean slate in Winsville. They didn't do it as much in, I noticed Zumwalt, the conservative candidates each had their own signs. They didn't go together on them. Right. And they split that. So you had 3, you had a Democrat, a Republican, a Democrat that won in that one. I wasn't sure about St. Charles.
Honestly, I wasn't paying attention. The problem with running elections is I don't have time to pay attention to the campaigns. Yeah. So I didn't know who the Republican and Democrat candidates were. I just knew these are the names on the ballot, and I just wanted to make sure that the order of the ballot was right.
And I don't think in St. Charles they were as open about that as they were in the other school districts. The other school districts were much more intentional, and I think that had not as much to do about the candidates. It had to do about the groups that were helping get them elected. Mm-hmm. But speaking of elections, what are you seeing? What was the turnout like? Because you mentioned people saying, hey, why aren't they noted Republican or Democrat? I'm going to guess those are a lot of people who didn't normally vote in April elections.
So I didn't look them up to see how often that particular group of people were voting. But in St. Charles County, we had 15% turnout on the day of the election, which is on the higher end of average. We usually see 10 to 15% in St. Charles County. St. Louis County had 18% turnout.
Wow.
So they had a pretty good turnout. Now, in St. Charles City, a lot of the precincts there, because of the mayor's race, they were seeing 20, 25. One precinct saw almost 30% turnout in that one precinct for the mayor's race. So
that seems huge.
That is very big for a municipal election to have nearly a 30% turnout in that precinct for election day. But so that was an issue where the two candidates certainly had a lot of signs. They were certainly campaigning hard, and St. Charles City mayor is a working mayor. They're the one who actually runs the city, whereas in a lot of the cities in St. Charles County, the city administrator actually does the real work, and the mayor is just a figurehead.
Right. Well, so you saw 15% day of.
Mm-hmm.
How did the whole? So you helped me correct myself that November was our first 2 weeks no excuse voting.
Right.
But you had it in April this year. How did the lead up time go? Are you seeing more people coming in before Election Day and starting to vote?
So we only had a 1.5% vote absentee.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we had 4,000 people vote absentee.
Okay.
About half of those were by mail and the other half in person. Now, what we are seeing is most of the people who voted in person, it was in those last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So now that we have this 2 weeks of no excuse in-person absentee voting, that's when most people vote. So anybody who voted in person before that was pretty much an election judge, a poll worker who was going to be working election day, coming to my office while they were doing training and voting. And it was the general public who wanted to vote before election day, either coming into the election authority office, or for this April election was the first time in St. Charles County we had a satellite voting site. So St. Louis County, St. Louis City, they've had satellite voting sites in the past. And St. Charles County, this is the first time that we've done that. And it was successful. We had it at the old Belts Mall, the Element Church.
Oh, yeah. So in satellite voting, what that means is you can show up from anywhere and you can vote for your slate of candidates. Do you guys just print the ballot for them right there and then they vote, or do you have a whole bunch of them on hand?
We did both.
Okay.
For the precincts near that location at the old Belts Mall, we had pre-printed ballots, but we also had a ballot on demand printer. And we saw people who, I think we maybe did too good of a job advertising, because we had people come from St. Charles City, drive past my office, go to the Winsville location and vote there. But yeah, for the most part, it was the people in the Winsville, like St. Louis area who voted at the satellite location, because that's
can
where
we
it's located.
vote at your office on Election Day?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Yes,
I don't know why I didn't realize that. I thought on Election Day you had to go to your polling location. I didn't realize you could still come to the election authority. Makes sense. I just didn't think about it that way.
The election authority is the central polling location, and while voters are allowed to vote at the central polling location, we encourage everybody to vote at their home precinct, because one, that's what it's designed for, and two, that's closest to their home. Most people have to travel a little ways to get to
More
to
convenient.
my office. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anything different that you saw in this election than what you've seen in previous April elections? I mean, you've been in the office now for, this is your fifth year?
This is my fifth municipal election that I've administered. It's actually one of the highest turnout elections that we saw. So that was unusual. I was actually expecting a lower turnout because we saw so few people absentee voting.
Right.
I thought that was going to show that, just fewer people are just going to vote. We're going to see close to that 10, maybe 12%. And to see 15% election day and then 16% overall was a little bit higher than I had expected. It was interesting that for the most part, all of the propositions passed. So the big thing on the ballot was the marijuana tax.
Right.
And so, for St. Charles County, it was Prop 3 for Amendment 3 because that's what Amendment 3 was what got the recreational marijuana on the, made legal. But a lot of cities, and even in St. Louis County, they were just referred to it as Prop M.
Right.
So you saw in all jurisdictions in St. Charles County, Prop M passed. In St. Louis County, the county one passed, and then most of the cities passed. But I did see at least one very small municipality in St. Louis County where Prop M actually didn't pass. But talking to election officials across the state, pretty much everywhere where the taxation of recreational weed was on the ballot, it pretty much passed everywhere. Everybody was like, if we're going to have it, let's go ahead and tax it. And so that was kind of interesting that those taxes all passed.
I give Ryan Wiggins full credit for that, because Monday he had the best slogan for the whole thing. Stick it to the stoners.
Stick it to the stoners.
Stick it to the stoners is the Ryan Wiggins campaign for Prop M or 3. So it worked out well.
And then in St. Charles County, the use tax passed. So St. Charles City's been trying to get their use tax passed for several elections now. They even had a special election and it didn't pass. So it was called Prop 7 this time around. And so that did pass.
You just keep bringing it around until it's done, I guess.
Yeah, it's the Francis Howe model. And so the only thing that didn't pass in St. Charles County, which I thought was kind of interesting, the city of Wentzville had a measure to extend the term limits for the aldermen, and that failed. And then they had this issue dealing with a fee for sewer laterals, and that failed. But everything else in St. Charles County passed as far as the ballot issues.
I thought it was interesting that the fire tax passed, and I think that was O'Fallon had that one on. Did other fire districts have another one on?
No, it was O'Fallon Fire District was the only one because most of the fire districts ran in November of last year.
Okay.
And they got all of their tax or bond issues passed in November, and O'Fallon was the only one that didn't in November, so they did it in April.
I'm finding it interesting in St. Charles County, and I'm sure you follow the elections around the region, and you probably see how the election authority has happened around the region, but St. Charles County typically is we don't like taxes. At least that's the impression, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm beginning to think that's not the case because the ambulance authority ran one back in November. They did practically no advertising for it at all. And it flew through. Like, no problem, sure, we're good with that. And they voted it through. And then the fire district puts theirs on. I really didn't see hardly anything. I didn't see mailers or anything about it. And then it went through pretty handily, as a matter of fact. So it's one of those kind of things of, I was joking with these guys earlier, as you may have heard coming in, like everybody complains about how high their taxes are. I'm like, well, why didn't you show up and vote against it? Well, the people who showed up, obviously more than normal, said, yeah, I'm good with that. I'm like, okay, then don't complain later.
Well, if you look at the demographics, the people who vote in an April election are older. And we see, on average, and I haven't done the math yet for this election, but in April of last year, the average age of the voter was 63 years of age.
Wow.
And so if you consider...
You wouldn't expect those folks to approve taxes.
Well, they want the services.
Oh, that makes sense.
They want the safety and security. If you're older and you're like, hey, do you want ambulances to run well? Do you want the fire department to show up? I mean, that's what they want.
If you're older, you're definitely going to be as one of those folks who's probably going to be using that ambulance more likely than other.
When I walked in to vote on Tuesday, the people looked at me like I had 6 heads. I feel like they're like, do you know why you're here or what you're voting for? I'm like, give me that ballot. I know how to do this.
Hey, you're not over 50. Why are you here? You know this is not a bar, right?
Well, St. Charles City had a primary election in February for the mayor's race.
Right.
And on election day, we had 3 people who were 18 and 2 people who were 19 that voted in that election. We had 7 people who were in their 90s.
Wow.
And so, again, the median age was quite a bit older. So, yeah, they probably did look at you weird because, honestly, there's not very many young people who do vote in April elections.
Well, we're talking with Kurt BAHR, who's the Election Authority Director in St. Charles County. Can you hang out for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Let's do a little bit of business. We will come back and, we're still back with the outfield again. I love that. So,
coming in a little hot.
It's okay. We'll come back and we'll talk with Kurt a little bit more. I want to know a little bit more about the St. Louis side and anything that you know about St. Louis County. How did their elections go? Obviously, you said some of those places got really high. So speaking of the Prop M and marijuana tax, they got really high. Dude, stick it to the stoners. It's passing.
That was a good one.
There you go. Hey, it's Mike Elam sitting in for Annie-Frey today on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
When partnering with the Diamond Shop and having been a customer of theirs, both myself shop there, my husband shop there, we've shopped there together. One of the things that I appreciate so much about the Diamond Shop is how attentive they are to detail, how much they do listening and not telling, so that when you go through the process of making a jewelry purchase, you start maybe with a lot of questions in your mind, but at the end, you're confident that what you're buying, it fits in your budget, that it is exactly what you've looked for. They have beautiful pieces of jewelry inside the shop right now in the cases. They just are so pretty to look at, but they also have the opportunity to do custom jewelry. So if you were looking for a piece and it's not in there, there, talk to them about what you're trying to get. Talk to them about what you're trying to create. And you will have the best in the business at the Diamond Shop ready to make that dream come true. If you go online to thediamondshop.net, you can become a VIP member and you get exclusive opportunities for discounts on merchandise. Find them online. Go shop at Clayton online at thediamondshop.net.
An update from the Illinois Family Institute, illinoisfamily.org. Illinois House lawmakers could vote soon on SB 1909. The legislation will shut down pro-life pregnancy resource centers through fines and litigation. It also gives the Illinois Attorney General additional discretion to move against them.
They're coming after us every which way.
Attorney Ann O'Connor with the National Institute of Family and Life Advocates says voters should ask their state representatives to vote no on SB 1909.
There's already laws in place to deal with any kind of deceptive advertising or bad practices. And you're targeting these specific organizations who do great work, and we're watching.
For names and phone numbers of state reps, click Officials Finder at illinoisfamily.org. illinoisfamily.org.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Countdown to Earth Day. Just 15 days to go. To increase gas mileage, keep tires inflated to the correct pressure and remove heavy items like golf clubs from your trunk. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Warmer days are coming. Time to schedule your annual AC system check for as little as $15 a month. For any residential or commercial HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is where real local and national accountability happens. This is 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis's home for conservative talk. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
I love you so.
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars.
Happy Good Friday, everybody. Bruno Mars kind of fell off the face of the earth, didn't he? He
Want
was
him to come
huge
back.
for a while. I remember him having like the NBC special and did a live concert, and he was on the Super Bowl, and then it was like, Bruno who? What? Okay.
He's such a talent, though.
He's good. I like him. I mean,
Anytime he releases a song, it's a hit for a long time. Like this song that we're playing right now is pretty old, but it's still so good.
It's good tempo. It's got a good beat. It's easy to dance to. I'll give it an 85. Welcome to Radar Record on America Bandstand. So all you folks who are over 50 may actually remember that. So there you go. Hey, Kurt Barr is in with us today. We're talking about elections that happen on Tuesday. Marijuana passed for the most part, so you're going to get to pay taxes on that. If you're a weed smoker, sorry for you. But if you're from Illinois and you're a weed smoker, come on over to Missouri. It's cheaper than it is in Illinois, like everything else that kind of works out. So anything interesting we'll start St. Charles and then come over to St. Louis County. Anything interesting on the alderman councilman elections? We've covered school boards quite a bit. Did you see anything from that standpoint that kind of surprised you?
Quite honestly, no. We had, for most of the elections, there were one alderman running.
Yes.
And where there were contested races, what surprised me the most was that there was clear winners. In St. Charles County, like in O'Fallon, there were clear winners for those alderman races.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was tight and everybody's like, I'm not really sure. I'll just pick this name that looks good. So that indicates to me that, the people who were running, either some people were really campaigning and others weren't, or like I know in O'Fallon, there's one lady who was running, and she'd been working in Republican politics for a long time, and she ran and won strongly. And I know she had opposition that was working hard. And
it was actually a 3-person race.
It was a 3-person.
They had
race.
An incumbent who had been appointed by the mayor, and he came in third. The two ladies were 1-2.
I guess probably what surprised me the most, St. Charles City, there was the incumbent Kyle Christopher.
Yes.
So he was appointed. He had won a special election. And then Bill Otto, who was a Democrat state rep, he and I served together in the House at the same time. He actually beat Kyle.
I was surprised about
that ward race. And Bill, having actually served as a Democrat, people could say, well, we know what party he is. Where a lot of times in nonpartisan elections, the question is, well, how do they affiliate? How do you know?
Right.
And so that was kind of interesting that he won that race. But that ward is a little bit more purple than in any other area in our county.
So tell me a little bit about that, because the impression is around the state that St. Charles County is a hardcore red county. But you and I have talked about this. That has been changing over the past number of years.
You want to talk about this publicly?
Sorry.
So basically, if you go from the admin building of the county to the family arena and along the river and all those neighborhoods in Old St. Charles and near, south of 94, that is a 50-50 district at best.
Okay.
That area. And so that is where, District 105, the state representative district, where Adam Schwadron won by 99 votes.
Right.
Ward 1, where Bill Otto, a former Democrat representative, won. And so that's an area where, the Democrats are working hard to pick up gains in St. Charles County. So that's probably the bluest, purplest area in our county.
They see that as their jumping off point, I guess.
It is.
And they're trying to take over the county from that spot. So when you look at St. Louis County, anything about that may have surprised you, or anything that you found interesting over there?
So, St. Louis County, as far as this
other
election,
than the fact that there's 3 million municipalities in St. Louis County,
there's so many. You go through it. It's hard to know. I was talking to the director of elections from St. Louis County, and their biggest issue on election day was their poll workers, not the election judges, but the people standing outside holding the signs. They are aggressive in St. Charles County, and so they have a lot of issues with trying to get people to stay 25 feet from the door.
In St. Louis County,
in St. Louis County, they're overly aggressive and holding the signs and talking to voters and being a little bit aggressive in their campaigning. So that's honestly was their biggest issue, and they see that a lot in April elections. So we see that a little bit more in St. Charles County. April elections, people who aren't traditional politicians, kind of know the process a little bit better. We see those people will be a little bit more loose with the election laws. But we don't have the same level of problems in St. Charles County. Now, in Boone County, they actually had a polling place shut down because there was gunfire outside of a polling place.
No way.
Which was like real gunfire. It actually closed down the poll. Now, in St. Charles City, we had a funeral not far from a polling place where there was a gun salute. Which caused the school resource officer at St. Charles West to get a little bit concerned.
But
that was a very different situation. So when you hear a 21-gun salute, it's a little different than when you hear a couple shots, in the city area.
Yeah, when they follow more of a pattern, you feel better about it, right?
Yeah. So those are the only cases where I know where we had issues with gunshots. Then Greene County down in Springfield, they had one of their election judges wearing a MAGA hat. And,
no way.
And the clerk down there, he had to go and basically tell the guy, hey, you need to take this hat off while you're working as an election judge. Put it on when you leave. That's great. And the guy did finally, and then he went back to working as election judge. But yeah, he created a bit of a stir down there just for wearing his MAGA hat as an election judge.
Wow. I can see that. Brad, you had a question.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious because to me it seemed like, what was it, 81 million votes for Joe Biden and 70-something million votes for Donald Trump.
Right.
2020 seemed like one of those election seasons. To me, it looks like a turning point where I think that people are going to be more engaged and stuff like that. Are we noticing any trends like that, or what is your experience with that?
So in August and November of last year, we saw average voter turnout. We saw the August election in St. Charles County closer to 50%. We saw only a 60% turnout in St. Charles County and roughly 60% statewide for that. So the presidential elections always draw more voters. Some people think those elections are only once every 4 years. We have seen, back in 2010 when the Tea Party movement was huge, a group of people getting engaged in politics who hadn't before. 2008 when Obama was running, a group of people getting engaged who hadn't before. And so from time to time, we see people engaged in politics, but over a while, they generally fizzle out and then they just either they just go to being normal voters or they just go back to living their lives and they realize that politics is difficult. The process is designed to be difficult, but politics and legislating is a team sport. You have to get a majority to agree at the same time on an issue. And it's, people will go run for office because they want to do this one thing, but if they're alone, they just can't do that. And so yes, we see in these big elections more people engaged, but whether or not it's going to be a turning point where we are a more engaged society, I'd say probably not. We're probably going to see cycles. But I will think that in 24, we will definitely see a much higher turnout in this presidential election.
So we don't have another election now until August of next year.
No, we have next April.
Oh, sorry.
We have a municipal election every year.
We're done with that's true.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
We don't have an election for the rest of this year, as far as we know, unless something special happens.
Well, the legislature is trying to reinstate the presidential preference primary. And so right now, we are a caucus state, and how we select our slate of delegates for the presidential convention is by caucus. We have in several years in the past had a non-binding primary that people could go and vote. Now, the vote meant absolutely nothing. The legislature took it out last year, and now there's a bill this year to put it back in. So we may or may not have a presidential preference primary. It may be in March. It may be in April. We don't really know what's going to happen with that.
Okay, so we're still waiting to find out on that part. So that'll be your next chance to vote right now is coming up in the presidential primary, at least the way it sits right now, unless that gets moved, and then we'll do the April municipal elections that'll happen again. Talking with Kurt Barr from St. Charles County Election Authority, and I'm just kind of watching all this stuff happen, and I'm hoping that everybody does a really good job of governing as we move forward. I got to tell you, when I look at a lot of the races that happen around the area, Republicans did really well. And Mark Cox has been huge involved in a lot of these races. He's had a list of candidates that he's been trying to encourage people to support and get out there and vote for. A lot of them won. So now I'm just hoping that, hey, we can govern, right? So Brad and I were talking about that in the first segment of we've got a history of winning, but not necessarily of doing a great job governing. And I'm excited about the people who got elected. I think they're going to do really well. So I'm excited to see where that is. So, Kurt, thanks very much for coming in on Good Friday. I hope you have a wonderful Easter holiday.
You and your family, too.
It's going to be fun. So my name is Mike Elam. On the other side of this, we are going to talk to Charlie Gasparino. Jobs numbers came out today, and they were pretty much what they thought, but we'll see what Charlie thinks about that. It's the Annie-Frey Show. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
If you're looking at new windows for your house, choose wisely. Mark Cox here for my friends at Window World. You want to go with a company you can trust. Ranked number one in the number of windows sold in the country. That's according to Qualified Remodeler magazine. In just over 20 years in business, they've improved the look and obviously the thermal efficiency of over 70,000 customers in St. Louis. They're going to give you a lifetime warranty that covers all the parts and the glass breakage and the labor. It's a good product. Call them at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate. That's 314-993-1800. Window World won the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval. That's not easy. They rely on the expertise of their in-house engineers and their analysts and their product experts to give that seal of approval. That should matter to you as well. Call for your free estimate right now. Simply the best for less at Window World. 314-993-1800. WindowWorld.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Sherlock Holmes, we have a new mystery. My dear Watson, what conundrum requires our sleuthing? It's these high gas prices, Sherlock. How do I stop paying too much at the pump? Elementary, Watson. Simply use the Cashback app, Upside. The Upside app has eluded my attention. Oh, come now, Watson. Upside is the revolutionary app that's free to download, and you get real cashback for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200. So you can really make cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway. Precisely, my dear Watson. I have the app open now. Look, there's a gas station not far from here offering 25 cents per gallon cash back. Sherlock, you've done it again. I will now use the Upside app and earn cash back on every gallon of gas I buy.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code HOMES to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code HOMES for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code HOMES for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Plan to return to the Tennessee State House. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. 2 Democratic lawmakers expelled from the Tennessee House of Representatives last night say they aren't disappearing.
Tennessee State Representatives Justin Jones from Nashville and Justin Pearson from Memphis both say they'll be back at the Capitol next week for a rally. Jones, Pearson, and fellow Democratic Representative Gloria Johnson of Knoxville joined last week's gun control protest by demonstrators at the Capitol. The men, who are black, were expelled on Thursday by the House's Republican supermajority, but not Johnson, who is white, leaving about 150,000 Tennesseans without representation. Johnson pointed to race as the reason she kept her job while her colleagues did not. County commissions in their districts will choose replacements until a special election can be scheduled, and they could opt to send Jones and Pearson back in those roles.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Vice President Kamala Harris flying to Nashville today to meet with the expelled lawmakers. Employers added 236,000 jobs in March, suggesting the economy remains on solid footing despite the 9 interest rate hikes the Fed has imposed in its drive to tame inflation. 2 teen suspects are in custody, and a search continues for a third wanted in connection with the murders of 3 Florida teens. Marion County, Florida Sheriff Billy Wood says the state needs to be tougher on juvenile crime.
Do not hold our juveniles accountable. We minimize their actions.
Sheriff Wood says the murders appear to be gang-related. Abortion opponents have pushed a bill through the Kansas legislature today requiring providers to tell patients that a medication abortion can be reversed once it's started. It could face a state court challenge if supporters overcome the governor's expected veto. Democrats argue the measure defies a statewide vote in August that affirmed abortion rights. America is listening to Fox News.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number? Not me. Nope. Nuh-uh. Oh, no. He's been stolen.
LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Spring is here, and it's time to add some life to your wardrobe with Untuck It. Untuck It shirts are designed to be worn untucked, so you look your best even at your most casual. From iconic button-downs starting at just $55 to wrinkle-resistant linen shirts, printed polos, and brushed cotton tees, there's something for everyone. But Untuck It isn't just about shirts. They also offer a wide range of pants and shorts to complete your look. Visit untuckit.com or stop by one of 80-plus stores to find the perfect fit for your spring wardrobe.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Excellent weather as we go through our Friday afternoon, a holiday weekend kicking into gear. Plenty of sunshine, 63 for the high today. Tonight, partly cloudy, it's cold, 50s for evening plans, 39 for the overnight low. Saturday, partly sunny, chilly start, but a nice afternoon, 68, all is quiet Saturday night. Sunday for Easter, partly sunny, and 72 on Sunday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Are you thankful for the first responders in your community? Then nominate a local department and let us feed them a great meal. Compliments of Grill Master Tony Stone. Mark Cox here. Visit 971talk.com/contests and nominate someone today.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet, first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
It's the Annie Frey Show. My name is Mike Elam. Thanks for listening to 97.1 FM Talk. In case you missed it this morning, the jobs report came out, and the U.S. economy added 236,000 jobs in March, and the unemployment rate fell to 3.5%. It was pretty close to what they were expecting, a little under. But I need help when I start looking at numbers like this, and whenever you need help, you always reach for an expert. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Charlie Gasparino who's joining us today. Charlie, thanks for making some time on Good Friday. I'm sure you were crazy busy today.
Yeah, crazy busy. There's nobody at work today.
Well, we have no markets today, right?
Yeah, no, the markets are closed. Bond market's open, but let's see what did the bonds do off this? So the bonds went down. So the bond at 10 years pricing in, more signs of a recession essentially. So that on the latest employment number, because the hiring slowed a bit. So and I think it didn't slow enough for the Fed to stop raising rates. I think we're going to get at least one more, probably two more rates. At least that's what my sources say. And they're not going to give up unless they have an incredibly good print on CPI or something like that. But that just hasn't happened lately. So I think this is. Listen, we see gradual cooling is the headline in the Journal right now about the March jobs report, and I think that's about right. It's gradual, but still, we still have inflation. There's still high inflation. It's still, And the Fed, I think, is determined to get rid of inflation. If you listen to Jerome Powell himself.
When you look at this report that came out today, what's the big thing that hits you? Anything in particular stand out that you go, well, that's unusual?
No. I mean, this was kind of like, I mean, you kind of saw this happening. I mean, listen, we had bank failures. We're going to have banks cutting back on lending. The economy is going to slow down. Now, I think we're probably going to have a recession if we don't have one now. I mean, we kind of did technically have a recession, right? We had 2 negative GDP prints, even though employment was still pretty rock solid. So I just think this is just kind of more of the same. And I think a lot of this depends on how much you think the Fed's going to raise rates. If the Fed raises rates twice more, I think that's kind of a indication that it thinks that, it thinks inflation is very embedded in the economy, and it has to create possibly even a harder landing than they wanted.
I've heard it said that Jerome Powell said that he's just going to keep raising rates until he breaks something. And the question is, what is that needs to be broken for him to say, okay, I think we're good?
A market crash. Dow 25,000, the S&P firmly in the threes.
Do you think that's our future? Do you think that's what's coming?
I don't know. Here's what I would say. I don't think societies can last with 6% inflation. It's actually worse than unemployment because it leads to unemployment, and there's a wage and price spiral that keeps going on, and it never ends well because wages never can't catch up to the price increases. So you're actually working, but you feel like you're in a recession. So the sort of better of two evils is just to cause a recession, have inflation come down, and build from there. We're not close to there yet. So, this thing still has to play out.
What do you make of the fact that we actually saw labor participation go up to the highest level it's been since before COVID?
Yeah, I mean it's a good sign, I guess. And but these numbers are always all over the place. It's hard to make absolutes out of these sort of these reports. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, then next month it could change. And what's the rolling average, which I don't know. I mean, you got to kind of look at the trend line here. Listen, employment remains strong. If you look at surveys of people's attitudes, they like their jobs, but they don't get paid enough.
Right.
That tells you something. The wage price spiral is out of control. You can work as much as you want to work. You might like your job, but you can't pay for stuff. I mean, things are expensive. I went into the diner the other day. It cost me $40 for a salad.
Wow.
It's a Greek salad. I mean, I know it was in Manhattan, but it was a Greek salad. It wasn't. I wasn't having caviar on it. There was feta cheese in there.
Thank you very much as we go into this Easter holiday of reminding me why I enjoy living in the Midwest. Things are just so much less expensive here. Hey, Charlie.
It is. By the way, and I went to school out there. I went to school, University of Missouri Journalism School. So I know
did you really?
Oh, yes, I did.
Hey, we got a Tiger on the line. Look at that.
Yeah.
MIZ.
Yes, and proud of it. I haven't been back in a while, but I'm due back apparently to talk to the kids. But I love my time in Missouri.
Well, we would welcome
in the middle of the cornfields.
Anytime that you come back, if you're going to stop by Mizzou, we would love for you to stop by the station because we would love to see you. I always enjoy your takes on everything and follow you closely. I love you and Stuart being on together because you and Stu always have some great banter back and forth. So it's always fun. Yeah. It's a great way to start my day when I see you guys on. So Charlie, thanks very much for taking the time today. I hope you and your family have a fantastic Easter.
And back at you. Thank you, sir.
That is Charlie Gasparino, Fox Business Senior Consultant. He's a New York Post columnist and just an all-around smart guy. So it's always good.
That was great.
See, it's good to have guys like that weigh in. And I know he was trying to work us in. He's got a lot of stuff going on today. So obviously, day off for him. So we appreciate him taking the time and actually joining us. It's fun. I love to listen to Fox Business, right? So I listen to them. Not that Mark Cox is not amazing. He is. He's fantastic. And he's a very entertaining guy. But I love listening to Maria Bartiromo on Fox Business and just hearing everything that's kind of going on with the guests that she has on. And one of the things they were talking about this morning is Walmart and Costco and what they are saying. When you have people like Costco saying things are going in the wrong direction from what they're seeing from their members, when Walmart says what we're seeing from our shoppers is they're not buying the brand names, they're buying the Walmart brand.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I heard earlier in the week was dollar store. So dollar store sales are going up.
Uh-huh.
So when you have the dollar store, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, all of those, very low entry places, retail places, when they start seeing a spike, then something's different. The consumer, like Charlie was talking about, hey, I like my job, but I'm just not getting paid enough.
That's striking.
Well, they're trying to figure out, how can I stretch my dollar?
Right.
Because inflation is killing me.
Yeah.
So and this is something, so I was this many years old before I realized you can buy milk off the shelf, not in the refrigerated section.
What?
Okay, good. Well, you're 21, so I would expect you to not know that as much. But I'm about to be 57.
I'm 39, and this is the first I'm hearing of this.
So you're okay. Good. It's not just me. So my wife was talking about that the other day, and it was new to both of us because we're used to you go buy milk in the refrigerated section, and you get a gallon of milk there, but you can buy cartons of milk off the shelf that's not refrigerated.
I don't trust that.
I'm sure there's something there, and I'm sure one of our listeners
milk
is it like powdered milk?
No. It's in a carton.
Like, I know in Canada you can get like a bag of milk.
Bag o' milk, but I'm sure that's refrigerated.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is non-refrigerated milk. Somebody said something. I use canned milk for my gravy. That's different. This is not condensed milk, powdered milk, or
Libby
dry
says,
milk.
Yes, it's dry, my guy.
It is not dry milk. It's actually milk that's in a carton, and they had it at the dollar store. Is where somebody was telling my wife
Is
about
the dollar store really the dollar store still?
it is not.
It's like the $1.50 store now.
Well, in some cases, it's a $5 store.
Wow.
And I'm like, when the dollar store becomes a $2 store, inflation has hit a new level.
Right.
So I kind of want to circle back to that thing because I was sitting here thinking about this.
Which thing?
The part where Gasparino said that people like their jobs, but they feel like they're not getting paid enough.
Right.
And so I have several friends, that are closer to Hannah's age than they are to my age. And they're doing things like they just got married. They're starting their lives out. They're looking for a starter home and stuff like this. And they're like, I make good money, but I just can't afford things.
Right.
I think we hear a lot from other people that says this is a problem because businesses aren't paying their employees enough.
Okay.
While that might be what it seems like easily, what Gasparino's talking about there is that inflation is going up and wages can't keep up with it.
Exactly.
Which that is not the employer's fault, because when employers raise wages, that means that they have a bigger cost on them so that their company can be profitable. They have to then raise costs.
Right.
So when they raise wages, the prices go up again. And that's that spiral that he's talking about.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going to pay you more and you're going to go spend more, but the price of things is rising faster than the price of your increase at your job, because the price of materials is going to go up all the time. Your raise is probably going to happen once a year, if that, right? So when you start saying, hey, I got a 4% raise this year, well, congratulations. But inflation went up 8%. So I actually lost 4% year over year. Even though I'm making more, my dollar buys less than what it used to buy. So it's going to make me change my shopping habits. What's interesting that I hear people talk about is the consumer is still out there spending.
Yes, that's interesting too, because that's how you control inflation. You got to get rid of demand.
Right. So like they were saying, Powell says that he's going to keep raising this until something breaks. I hope what Charlie said is not true. Dow 25,000. No, because if that happens, that means we're currently sitting at 33 and change.
Yeah,
so
that's a big crash.
It's a huge drop, right? And talking about the fact that, we're going to have an S&P that gets down at 3,000. It's at 4,100 and change. So if you see that kind of drop, that's painful for everybody. But we've got to get inflation under control. Now, what a lot of people are talking about is when they do these raises, right? So they're going to go up probably a quarter point.
You're talking about interest rates.
Interest rate, thank you. So when they do that raise, that hike that they're going to do in the interest rate, they're looking at a quarter point. What a lot of people are saying, hey, can you hit pause for a second? Don't cut, just hit pause. Give this a chance to catch up. Charles, what's his name? You have him on a regular basis.
Are you talking about Charles Payne?
Charles Payne,
He's
thank
not
you.
on with us. He's on with Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you actually, okay, my bad. So he's on the station, right? So he's on the station. I get my shows mixed up. And he's on the later Narc. He's on the Mark with a K, not a Mark with a C.
No, Mark with a C.
Oh, he is Mark with a C. Yeah. Okay, my bad. So anyway, Charles Payne, I really like that guy. Very smart guy.
Incredibly intelligent.
Really great at breaking things down and making it to a way to where a guy with a communications degree can understand what he's talking about, which is saying something, right? So I love the fact when he comes on and he explains that. He's the one who talks about the fact when you do these interest rate hikes, it's not an immediate thing, right? It takes a while for that to get into the fabric and break it down and slow it down. It's like brakes on a train as opposed to brakes on a bike. It's going to take a while for this thing to stop and for you to slow it down. So what he's saying is, hey, hit pause. If you're going to do this 25, then I wish you wouldn't, but do this 25 and pause for a while. Let it catch up. And let's find out if you have done enough already. Because what's maddening for me, not being a financial guy, but madness to me is they're going to talk about we're going to raise until we raise too much, and then we're going to cut. I'm like, that's stupid. Why don't you raise, pause, see if you've raised enough? Obviously, they've gone from 0 to 5 and change now.
Yeah.
You've raised a lot, all right, just in the short period of time. Let's find out if you've raised enough, and let's let it get into the fabric of the economy. Have you slowed the economy down enough yet? But they're not going to know that. So they're already talking about, on the financial networks, of the cut that's coming this late spring. What?
Yeah. Well, to me, it sounds like it's the financial equivalent of slamming on the brakes, then slamming on the gas, then slamming on the brakes, then slamming on the gas. That doesn't make it stable. That makes for instability.
That makes for whiplash.
And like, I think it's important to note, too, that the idea behind raising interest rates is to make it harder to buy things.
Right.
That's how it cools inflation, because then when it's harder to buy things, then you don't have as much demand for those things. The side effect of that is that whenever you're a company, you need to get business loans. Well, whenever you need to get a business loan to expand your company, you can't get it because you can't afford it or whatever, which means that your business stalls out. And if your business stalls out as far as expansion and stuff like that, that's where you start seeing job loss.
Well, and you're seeing job losses all over the place. Like the biggest area of the economy that went up in jobs, this report, and Charlie's right, this is a snapshot. You look at a rolling average to get a better idea of what's really happening in the economy. But the biggest job growth that happened, 72,000 jobs of this 236,000 that got added in hospitality. Well, that's your lowest wages, right? So that's your entry level, low wage, no skilled job that is getting added there. Another big segment that went up was government. Government went up 47,000 jobs, which sounds huge until you put a little perspective into it and you go, that's actually a pretty normal rate of jobs in government jobs. That's kind of where they've been. Somewhere between 43 and 49,000 is kind of where they've been lately. So, but when you figure the fact that you put those two together, those two segments made up half of all the jobs that were added in the month of March. Now, I refuse to say jobs created, because these were not jobs that were created. And I say that because we are still behind pandemic numbers.
So these are jobs recovered.
These are jobs recovered, not jobs created. Now, some people may say that's semantics. It's not semantics. It's true. These are jobs that we used to have. We are 9 million jobs behind pre-COVID.
Wow.
9 million,
I
right?
figured we were close but $9 million is way more than I thought we were behind.
$9 million is better than the $11 million that we had
true.
just last year, right? That we were short. So we're making progress, but it's very short. But we're in a new world. I mean, look at all the commercial real estate out there that is empty. My brother-in-law works for Wells Fargo in Charlotte. They have a 39-story office building in downtown Charlotte. You know who's in it? Not Wells Fargo people. They're subleasing floors of that building because their workers are remote. You have Walmart, I believe, announced that they're going to lay off 1,000 workers. Walmart laying off 1,000. Now, you've seen that with Amazon and all of the other tech companies have been laying off thousands of people. Amazon just got their stock downgraded a little bit. Their price target dropped. Now, it didn't drop a lot. It went from 160 target to 155. And you go, $5? Really? Is that a big deal? Well, it's because of AWS. AWS is not doing as well. And that money is going to the Microsoft product, which is Azure. And people may not care about all this part, but it's showing you the technology leaders are seeing the hiccups that are happening now. And they're laying off 10,000 workers. And these are not hospitality jobs. These are big jobs, tech jobs that you were supposed to not have to touch. These jobs were the jobs that were going to be there forever. Well, forever came a lot faster than what we thought. So there's a lot of pain that is in the economy right now. And until they figure it out, they're going to continue to raise rates. Now, what I understood, like we're at 3.5% on an unemployment rate. We actually went down from 3.6 to 3.5. Even though you are now at 62.5 million workers that are in the workforce. So, or 62.5%, I guess, of workers that are in the workforce. So we bumped up of people that are coming back into the workforce. People are saying, I need to get back into the workforce because I've been sitting on the sideline for all this time. So now they're coming back in. So you're starting to get workers that are coming back. Maybe we'll find those 9 million people. They didn't die, right?
Right.
They're still here. They're just choosing not to work.
But the question is where do they go to work once they get here? Because places with the good wages are like, they're cutting jobs.
Well, and supposedly Powell is looking for unemployment to get to north of 5%.
Wow.
He wants it north of 5% because that's where he feels like it needs to be to show that the interest rates that they've done so far have actually made a difference. So I don't know. There's a lot that you could talk about there. I appreciate you making contact with Charlie and getting him on. It's always good to hear from these folks who live this day in and day out and give you a little perspective on what is going on. Speaking of perspective, State Representative Wendy Hausman is going to join us. She is the Missouri State Representative from District 65. She's big in child welfare causes. So looking out for kids. She's got a couple of bills that she's actually put there. She's on Budget Committee. Budget has been a hot topic in the session so far this year. Not like it's always, but it always is. So we're going to talk with Wendy here in a little bit, check in with her, get an idea of what was the big story going on at the Capitol this week. There's always a big story happening at the Capitol this week. My name is Mike Elam, sitting in for anniefrey. I hope you are having a great Friday on this Good Friday. Thanks for listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to The Annie-Frey Show. The Annie-Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Hey fans, I'm breaking down MLB Play. I think they're the best MLB games. Now my personal favorite, Beat the Streak. Pick who you'll think will get a hit building your own streak. It's all on you, baby. You can win $5.6 million. The streak's alive! Next up, Pickle. Guess the player in the fewest number of tries. Got him! And there's other games like Bingo, a race to be first. Bingo! MLB Play. Great games, great prizes, and it's all free. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply. See official rules and enter at MLB.com/play. Oh yeah!
Who will dare to find a new way to think about energy? One that connects our lives like never before and creates a world where we can breathe easy. NewScale dared by making 24/7 carbon-free energy a reality with our Voyager SMR power plants. Let's see how bright the future can be when cleaner, safer energy is available to all. NewScale. Power to the world. Power for all humankind. Discover the future of energy at newscalepower.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When companies decide to take shortcuts, the safety of our families are at risk. At Underlaw, we find and expose those shortcuts.
Call Onderlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
The average family home takes on 40 pounds of dust per year. Dust and debris can worsen allergies, asthma, and cause discomfort in your home. Call Zero-Res at 314-474-2020 and get $75 off any of their air duct cleaning packages. 314-474-2020. Zero-Res.
Has anyone seen Roger? Where's Roger? It's time to open the jewelry store.
Where is everyone?
Did they all take the day off? At traditional jewelry stores everywhere, employees are quiet quitting and going to Diamonds Direct. Not just to work, but to shop. That's because even with employee discounts, Diamonds Direct offers all shoppers better selection and much better value. As a true direct importer of diamonds, Diamonds Direct has long-standing relationships deep in the world diamond industry, as well as the best diamond cutters across the globe, so they can say the quiet part out loud without the middleman markups. Diamonds Direct offers customers bigger, higher quality diamonds at a lower cost every day. Not to mention the best selection, the best customer service, best warranties, and best overall experience. Hello. Quiet quit paying too much for your diamonds. Go to Diamonds Direct. You won't be alone in how happy you are. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details, directions, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
So a cycle for Nolan Arenado. How about that?
The Cardinals host the Pirates the weekend of April 14th through the 16th. Then on Friday night, 25,000 fans age 16 and over get a Nolan Arenado cycle bobblehead. Where were you on July 1st when Nato hit for the cycle? Now you can add that moment in history to your bobblehead collection thanks to Coca-Cola and Walmart. That's Friday, April 14th. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com.
This is Nolan Arenado. See you at the ballpark.
I'll be there for you, and on Friday, April 14th, we hope you'll be there too. It's Friends Night at the ballpark.
Pivot.
Down to Busch Stadium to see the Cardinals host the Pirates. With the purchase of a special theme ticket, fans will take home their own Friends fleece blanket. Come early for a pregame concert of 90s hits from Proud Larry. That's Friday, April 14th. Friends Night at the ballpark. For tickets or more details, visit cardinals.com/theme.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Hey guys, Glover here from my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
Business owners, are you feeling the pressures of running your business? There's a limit to what you can do and still keep employees engaged. Insperity can help. They put 30 plus years of HR experience to work to help you with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving your employees competitive benefit options. And because you're able to focus on other priorities, your employees can thrive and your business can grow. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Full service HR, employee benefits, HR technology. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Andy Puzder is back with us.
Inflation is still high. The interest rate hikes haven't brought it under control. We're starting to see some indication that the economy is slowing.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Achilles and his gifts.
Hey, good Friday to you. Hope you're having a great kickoff to your weekend. like we talked about before on my way down here today, I'm guessing a lot of you have the day off. So thanks for making us a part of your Easter weekend. By the way, our poll question is up there. Feel free to take part in the YouTube poll. Of these choices, what's your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg? Are you going to talk about what your favorite is when we do the results?
Yep. We're going to go around and each say our favorite, and I think we might fight if we don't agree.
I did. So how did you get stabbed? Well, I picked Peeps, and she thought that was stupid. So
See,
what
happened was
see, officer, how this happened was it's going on. So get your poll in right now. YouTube poll. Make sure that you get your choices in: Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg. And you could do that at YouTube and where else?
YouTube is where you vote, but you can comment on the live stream from any of our locations, and I will see your comment and maybe read it.
Hey, by the way, that whole egg thing or milk thing, we were saying Reese's Egg, so I went egg. So Kenny D said, Mike, you were in the Navy. You definitely had non-refrigerated milk. Hey, Kenny, by the time it made it to me, it was in a cup. So I didn't know what I was drinking, man. It was just there. And there's a lot of things in the military that by the time it got put in front of me, it didn't really matter. It's like, okay, that's what I have. That's what I have. So I learned how to take orders, which is why yesterday was my 32nd wedding anniversary, because I learned how to do what I'm told. I have been trained well. The military taught me, do what you're told and don't ask questions. It works great for marriage. Just do what you're told and don't ask questions. But this is milk, by the way, that once you open it, it does have to be refrigerated. And it's not almond milk and it's not granola crap. So Hannah likes the almond milk, right?
I do like almond milk.
Yeah, so
yes.
it's not that. How you get milk out of almonds, I don't know. That's got to be really hard to milk them, but we will see. Hey, on something completely different, when we're talking about segueing to something, and this is a horrible way to do it, love the opportunity when I get to talk to Wendy Hausman. Wendy is a state representative for District 65. State Representative, how are you, ma'am?
I am doing well. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. Are you all excited about Easter? You have big plans?
Family's coming over and, just having dinner like we normally do. So I enjoy doing it.
Are you cooking?
Of course.
Of course. We're doing that. So we're hosting at our house as well, and everybody's coming over. And I was asking my wife last night, I'm like, so what all are we having for Easter? And she goes, here, I'll tell you. And she pulls up her phone, and she has a complete list of everything that she's making, that my sister-in-law is making, that my nieces are making, that my son and his wife are bringing. I'm like, she's got it all laid out. I'm like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I just show up and eat. So that gives you an idea of what I bring to the party. Although on tomorrow I will be cleaning, right? Because I've already been informed. Tomorrow you will be cleaning the house and you will be making sure that things look well. And I said, yes, ma'am. So I
told my husband the same.
That's what we're here for, man. We just do what we're told, and that's why we've been married for a long time, right?
That's very true.
It just works out well. Hey, I wanted to check in with you. It's been a while since you and I caught up, even in person. We haven't seen each other at community events, which never happens.
I know, I'm busy, Mike.
But I know you were at Green Tie Gala, and I was out of town when that happened, and then I was at Mayor's Ball. But I saw you at Mayor's Ball, didn't I?
I was at Mayor's Ball, yes.
Because you were over with the Dempseys. So I saw you over at that table. But we really didn't get a chance to catch up. So it's great that I can catch up with people live on the radio. So
right, exactly.
You never really know. So last time you and I did talk about some stuff, I was actually in Jeff City for Show Me Rotary Conference, and you were dealing with the budget. And there was a lot of shall we say, passionate expressions that were going on the budget. So where do we sit on the budget right now from a House perspective?
Well, we did pretty good. The budget is, it was kind of lowered from last year from what I hear. But we did do a $1 billion tax cut, which was good for everybody. And I think Cody Smith and Dirk Deaton, they did a really good job. Our budget that we passed was $45.6 billion. So a little bit more than, I think we wanted, but they did a really good job. It's a really hard job to do, just to organize everything and to try to take in everybody's requests that they have. So our chair did a really good job.
If I remember correctly, I think last year, obviously you weren't there for that. This is your first time going through this, but I want to say it was $48 billion is where we were last year, if memory serves. But don't hold me to that. I could have just pulled that number out of thin air. So anything is possible. You talked about tax cuts. So we cut taxes, not only for individuals, but we cut the corporate tax rate. Tell me a little bit about that.
We cut the corporate tax rate. They're trying to entirely remove it, so they're going to phase it out in over time. So this tax cut on businesses means it's stronger for Missourians, to promote more businesses, more jobs, and create a better opportunities for Missourians.
I saw that we are going from 4% to 2%, which, from what I understand, makes us one of the lowest, if not the lowest, corporate rate in the country.
To keep us more competitive, in the market. And so they see that this is a big opportunity for Missouri. So they, so this is going to be really, really good. So, we will see what happens.
So obviously your friends on the other side of the aisle did not agree with that. And they didn't agree. I know. That's a shocker, right? The Democrats didn't agree with the tax cut. Who saw that coming? Tell me other things, Captain Obvious, that happened. So tell me a little bit about how did this come about in terms of, I think the Senate is trying to get rid of corporate taxes altogether. Is that true?
Yes, I do believe so. And that was Dirk Deaton's, our vice chair of budget. He really worked hard on that. And, when I had questions, because taxes is not something that, just comes natural to me that I just completely understand. But he took time, explained it to us. And, he did he took a lot of time in figuring this all out. So, I was really, happy with that. And they also gave the Missouri State Highway Patrol a raise, which is so much needed. And so I was, happy to support that. And, some people on the other side don't like to, give police officers a raise. So I was happy to do that.
So tell me a little bit about the tax cut for the rest of us that aren't corporations. I know the Democrats were saying that that's going to cost us over $1 billion, but the Republicans are saying that's not true because we're going to see it come back to us in the form of revving up our economy.
Yeah, I think so. Anytime you can reduce taxes, it means people have more money in their pockets, which means they're going to spend more money. So, that, and which always comes back. So I think just by reducing it, helps us all. And the details there's so many details that it's kind of complicated to share in just a short amount of time. But, I think, they're funding what really needs to be funding, and they're concentrating on eliminating things that, maybe are not always necessary.
So $45.6 billion sounds like a lot of money. But unless you're talking Washington, and then that's a rounding error, probably less than a rounding error for Washington. But when you look at things that you were working for, and I know you have some bills that you have been championing and things that you were getting through, did the budget affect any of your bills that were going through the process?
I had some things for St. Charles County. We're trying to get some, we desperately wanted to get some money for St. Charles because we feel like, we've got 14 representatives and senators, representing St. Charles County. And so we deserve to get some money because we have a lot of representation. And so I know, along with Krista Finelli, Representative Krista Finelli, and Richard West, who also serves on the budget committee, we worked hard and we talked to the chair, Cody Smith, and, tried to get as much things that, we have a list of things we'd like, and we asked, if we could get these things. And we've got many of them. I can't publicly say what they are yet, but because they still got to go through the Senate.
Sure.
But we worked behind the scenes a lot, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to get those things that St. Charles really needs.
So I realize other things happen at the Capitol besides the budget. So this week, what was the hot topic that was going on in Jefferson City?
Well, I have to say that our leadership has been amazing, and they have Speaker Dean Plockert and John Patterson, who's our majority floor leader. They have really, really worked with the freshmen who usually when freshmen come in, we feel like, we just are supposed to, just shut up and listen. And both of those men have been really, really good with, respecting that we were elected just like everybody else. And so we've had a voice and we've got to, say what we wanted to say. And, many of us have bills that have passed and gone on to the Senate. And one of mine got passed, and several others. So I think I want to say that they've done really good leadership and making sure that our priorities are being heard. So the fact that we have already gone through IP reform and have our open enrollment, we're protecting our farmlands. Those are like really big things. And there's some other issues that are coming up right on the next week that I know are going to be some hot topics.
Well, trying to make sure that China is not allowed to buy farmland in Missouri was one of those topics that was coming up. And I know Senator Fitzwater was talking about that, or Fitzgerald, sorry, was talking about that in his Senate report that he posted. And looking at some of those issues that the Senate is working on right now. I did want to ask you before I let you go, we're speaking with State Representative Wendy Hausman from the 65th District out in St. Charles County. So there was an interesting incident that happened on the floor that I wanted to get your thoughts on. I reached out to the representative, but we had a Democrat representative of African-American heritage who kind of attacked a Republican representative who has an African-American heritage, who he identified himself as American. And she seemed to take offense to that. I just wanted to get your input and kind of lay that out on what you saw happen that day.
Well, that was with the DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, that was added to the budget. So basically, it blocks funding for any staff, vendors, or consultants and program associated with DEI. And so it'll probably be taken out in the Senate. But I think that we, as a Republican Party, feel that DEI does not really protect everybody and doesn't include everybody. And it's just a difference of opinion. And we saw that because the left was calling us every name they could think of and they could get away with. The N-word was even dropped. As you were saying, one of my colleagues was referred to, as something that was totally inappropriate on the House floor. And yet it was accepted and everybody said it's okay. But exactly what they were doing to us is why we do not want DEI supported, because we feel like they were just looking at the color of our skin, automatically assuming that we're all racist. Even a black gentleman who was speaking, they were assuming that, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid, is don't look at my color of skin and determine who I am. Look at my character. And Representative Hicks did a great job. He was on Fox News, and he said, I'm an American. And I thought that took, a lot, and I was so proud of him. He's a friend and a colleague, and I was glad that he had that opportunity to, stand up and say, this has got to stop, quit calling each other and judging each other based on our skin color, which is exactly what we're trying to prevent. So that's kind of how that all, focused out.
Talking about Representative Justin Hicks in District 108 out in the Lake St. Louis Garden Prairie area, he is also a freshman, just like you. And it felt like this African-American Democrat state rep sort of picked him out as targeting him and was trying to get him to say something that she wanted him to say that might help her make a point. And I think when she said, how do you identify? And I didn't know where she was going with on that. These days, how do you identify means a lot of different things, right? It's not necessarily skin color. I identify as whatever. I'm a chicken. That's how I identify these days.
They kind of misled him and kind of, they said he was the only minority in our caucus, which isn't true because, I happen to be one.
We do have an awful lot of ladies that are Republicans that are there.
And
yes.
We also have people, of all different ethnic groups. And so, I thought it was just, like I said, I thought it was for them to say what they were saying, and we just took it because, I would never disrespect another human being like that, ever, because it's just not in my nature. And I know many other people who are the same way. And so it was quite disturbing that it was just allowed to go on. And, they called us everything they wanted.
But he had a perfect reply. When she said, how do you identify? And he said, I identify as an American.
Yes,
there is no better answer. And I applaud Representative Hicks. He stood his ground. He was not intimidated by that. He just looked her right back and said, I'm an American. Don't define me anything more than that. Don't segregate me out. Don't put us off in little groups. We are all in this together. And I thought he did a fantastic job. I think he represented all elected officials well. And I just applaud him. Not everybody can think on their feet that well. And for him to stand there and just have a truth response back to her was something that really seemed to shut her up. And I'm sure it was an interesting thing for his fellow representatives to stand there and watch. There's only so much you're going to be able to do, I'm sure. So I appreciate the fact of how that works. So I just wanted to catch up with you real quick. We haven't had a chance to talk. I know we talked a lot about budget. I appreciate your work that you're doing there. And I just wanted to catch up about what's going on in Jeff City. I hope you and your family have a fantastic Easter. And I appreciate you making some time on your day off to actually come on the radio and talk with us today.
I think as a representative, we don't have days off.
Well,
you just work every day.
Very true. Your part-time job is really full-time. So that's kind of how it works out. Well, that is Representative Wendy Hausman from District 65 in the House. I hope you and your family have a great Easter.
You too, Mike. Thank you so much for having me on here. I've really had a good time.
Thank you. Appreciate the time. It's great. I hope to follow her through her 8 years in the House, which I'm sure she's going to have. But the back and forth with Representative Hicks was just really cool to see.
So you say 8 years she has. So
yes,
you can term out. You've got term limits.
You do. That's
wow.
I know. I feel for you, Illinois folks.
Wow.
Where they in Illinois, I think you die out. You don't really term out.
Even then.
Yeah. even then you keep getting votes. That's how it works. Hey, my name is Mike Elam. Thanks for spending some time with us on this Good Friday. You are listening to the Annie-Frey Show. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Human gives some superhero, some fairy tale.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I can turn to somebody I can kiss. I want something just like
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Oh, I want something just like this.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack. So they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
If you're trying to sell your home, there's only one group of agents in town I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Check out thegelmanteam.com.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or or totally transform the look by installing hardy shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today. sidingexpress.com.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, yourEyeDoc.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
22 years of questioning the narrative. Thanks for making 97.1 FM Talk your home for conservative talk. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Keith Urban.
Very good.
I love my country music. You grow up in Arkansas, you have to be a Razorback fan, and you have to like country.
Pig Suey?
It's a state law, man. Did you realize that Charlie Gasparino was a Mizzou guy?
I did not
I did
know
not
that.
know that.
I did not know that either. The things you learn when you tune into the Annie Frey Show. I was waiting for him to pick up on that whole M-I-Z and wait for him to go Z-O-U, but he wasn't playing it on a Good Friday. He's got too much NYC in him right now to do the Z-O-U. So we were doing that. Hey, I went a little bit long in that last segment with Wendy Hausman, so I've only got a couple of minutes here. Wanted to remind you about our YouTube poll of the day. Which is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg? So you can get your vote in for that. On the other side of the break, we are going to do this thing, which I'm very excited about because I have not been a part of it.
You haven't?
Ask Me Anything. We didn't do this on Monday.
Well, no, we don't do Ask Me Anything on Mondays. We do it on Fridays.
So
I thought you filled in on a Friday before. I guess not.
If I did, I don't remember it.
Oh,
so
you remember it.
Hey, by the way, Kurt Barr said they had that shelf-stable milk in Italy when he was stationed there 20 years ago. So it's a thing, people, right? It's a thing. Shelf-stable milk. I have no idea what it's made up of, but it is what it is. So we are going to do Ask Me Anything on the other side of the break.
Which means we need your questions. So if you're listening and you haven't jumped into the chat, jump into the chat and get your questions in. Use the hashtag AMA and put your questions in the chat, and we'll answer them on the other side.
And you can ask any of the three of us.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to just be the guy who's filling in.
Right.
It can be the people who are here all the time. So get your questions in, and we will answer those. Is this is there any guardrails here? Can they ask anything, or like what
they can ask anything?
You can. We may not answer. But you can ask.
We're
anything.
under no obligation to answer.
I'm the one that picks what we
there you go.
answer.
All right. So we have a Hannah filter.
To me. Yep.
That's right. Don't say anything mean to Hannah, otherwise your question's not going to happen. Hey, by the way, the Mark Reardon Show is out on the road. They are out in O'Fallon today for the last Friday fish fry, and then you can go back to actually eating real meat. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to go out and join them a little bit later on. It's the Annie Frey Show on this Good Friday. My name is Mike Elam. Filling in today, I appreciate the fact that you are still listening, even though Annie isn't here. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great Easter. Thanks for listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things, as we count down to Earth Day. Just 15 days to go. Make sure you keep the tires on your car inflated to the correct pressure. Also, remove any heavy items like golf clubs that you may be keeping in your trunk. You'll get better gas mileage and help the environment. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orris and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio, 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Questions about gifts. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas reacting to a new report showing he accepted luxury trips from Republican megadonor Harlan Crow for more than 2 decades without declaring them on financial reports.
The report from the nonprofit organization ProPublica claims Thomas took the annual trips on Crow's yacht and private jet while staying at his private resort. Thomas releasing a statement through the court saying the two families have taken a number of trips together during their 25-year friendship. Thomas says he was told that since the Crows did not have business before the court, the trips didn't have to be reported. He adds that he's always tried to follow disclosure guidelines, which are now being changed.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. Tennessee's Republican-controlled House expelled 2 of 3 Democratic members who took part in a demonstration in favor of gun control following the Nashville school shooting. The chamber ousted Representatives Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, sparing Representative Gloria Johnson. Pearson and Jones are black, while Johnson is white. Republican leaders deny that race was a factor. Republican lawmakers in Kansas approve a plan to ban cross-hormone puberty blockers and the surgical removal of body parts for minors.
Requiring Kansas's medical board to revoke the licenses of doctors who provide the controversial treatments to minors. Teens who've had sex change treatments testified both for and against the measure, though Democratic Governor Laura Kelly is expected to veto the bill days after the Kansas Republican-controlled legislature voted to override the governor's veto of a bill that bans biological boys minorities from competing in girls' sports.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. 2 people suspected of shooting and killing 3 teens in Florida last week were arrested today. Marion County, Florida Sheriff Billy Wood says a 3rd suspect is being sought. He says all 3 suspects are juveniles. America is listening to Fox News.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number?
Not me.
Nope. Nuh-uh. Oh, no. He's been stolen.
LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Spring is here, and it's time to add some life to your wardrobe with Untuck It. Untuck It shirts are designed to be worn untucked, so you look your best even at your most casual. From iconic button-downs starting at just $55 to wrinkle-resistant linen shirts, printed polos, and brushed cotton tees, there's something for everyone. But Untuck It isn't just about shirts. They also offer a wide range of pants and shorts to complete your look. Visit untuckit.com or stop by one of 80-plus stores to find the perfect fit for your spring wardrobe.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Excellent weather as we go through our Friday afternoon, a holiday weekend kicking into gear. Plenty of sunshine, 63 for the high today. Tonight, partly cloudy, it's cold, 50s for evening plans, 39 for the overnight low. Saturday, partly sunny, chilly start, but a nice afternoon, 68. All is quiet Saturday night. Sunday for Easter, partly sunny, and 72 on Sunday afternoon. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Very excited to be able to talk to you about the Illinois Family Institute. I'm going online right now as we speak to illinoisfamily.org. And you go to illinoisfamily.org, you can sign up for their newsletter and their alerts to what is going on in the state of Illinois. One of the things that I want people to know is how to get connected with the information. What is the progress that the left is making in Springfield, Illinois, and what the Illinois Family Institute refers to their mission as boldly bringing biblical perspectives to public policy in Illinois. And, you know, when we talk about people going to serve in government and be representative of large groups of people, don't forget that you are one of those people, and how you see it and how you want the future of the state to go matters. Illinois Family Institute is there to uphold faith, family, and freedom, and they need you to be a part of it. All I'm asking you to do is go consider signing up for their newsletter. If you go to illinoisfamily.org, you'll be able to sign up for their newsletter, get their alerts, and get connected to the information that you can react to and care about. illinoisfamily.org.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's code UP80. Use code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
The Martins came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed that we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call even though it's late, JerryKelly.com. Cause Jerry Kelly's always open up until 8. They're certified technicians, I've been told, will help you when it's hot and help you when it's cold, JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on, JerryKelly.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
Connect with the personalities and give your feedback. 97.1 FM Talk is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For content that's additional to the radio, join us there.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us, that's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
And Mike Elam is sitting in for Annie Frey today on 97.1 FM Talk. I love doing this show. I love filling in on 97.1 FM Talk anytime I could do it. The Mark Cox audience is a very unique, very serious, don't screw around, hardcore political audience.
Those
right?
morning drive people.
But
I've only got 15 minutes.
That's right.
Hit me with the stuff.
I mean, I love Mark Cox's audience. Mark Reardon's audience is always a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see them. They're going to be out at the Fish Fry, out at the VFW in O'Fallon. It is right across from Ethel's, if you're out there off Veterans Memorial in O'Fallon. I'm going to be out there. Looking forward to seeing them. But Fannies are a whole different audience of fun.
Now, it's important to note that they named themselves that.
Right.
I love that fact, right? And just looking at all the questions and all the interactions on the Facebook feed is very fun. And some of you folks are very unique in your comments. And I just feel like some of you are going to throw down. But beyond that, it's very fun to watch the interaction. And I appreciate all the comments and everybody getting involved and all that stuff. It's just a fun show to do. But when we get to this part of the show on a Friday, where, hey, we're going to take a break from the whole Tennessee kicking out representatives and Biden inviting all of the winners and giving out participation trophies to women's basketball. We're gonna put that to the side for a little bit. And I know some of you are heartbroken about X's and O's not happening today, but Wiggins hosts that,
Right.
So we can't really take Wiggins' thing away from Wiggins.
Well, he creates it. He finds the questions. He works all week on that. And we're glad that you guys love it, but he's not here today, so.
And it gives you an idea of how much time that he has on his hands that he can work all week on that. So that just kind of shows you a little something else. But we are up to the segment that I am really looking forward to because I have no idea where this is going to go because I don't get to pick any of this. It is called Ask Me Anything.
You have to ask me nicely.
Don't make me beg here.
Ask me anything.
Tell me the truth.
All right, so I will host this segment.
Hang on, I didn't even know there was an intro. That was fun.
Yes.
I'm learning so much as we go along here.
Yep.
And I'm sure Trisha is listening on the other end out in O'Fallon going, Mike has no idea what he's about to get into.
Yeah.
And you're right, I don't.
Yep, so we have a ton of questions that came in. We still have time if you want to comment one, though. Before we get to that, though, I want to say a formal apology. I forgot to put the Wiggins intro in today. I've already gotten confronted about that. Every 2 p.m. hour on Fridays, we have a special intro for the hour, and I forgot to put it in, so I'm sorry to all of you out there.
Maybe we can do that in the next break. We can come out with, maybe not.
Maybe.
I'm not here to start stuff.
You just got scared. You're like, yeah,
I did.
never mind.
Hannah gave me, her eyes got big and
She's
kind of
like-
moved to the side,
she's
and I'm
like-
like, you need to shut up, Mike.
Mike's
This
like,
is-
wait a minute.
I
It's
was
the
like,
Wiggins Open.
This was, I'm gonna just be quiet and wait for my question.
All right,
And now
so
back to Hannah.
the first question that we have is, how did you end up in radio? So, Mike, you want to go ahead and answer that? How did you end up here?
So I started in radio when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
In Berryville, Arkansas. When I was a kid, the magic of radio was amazing to me. The DJs were larger than life. When I lived in Piggott, Arkansas.
I know where Piggott is.
There you go.
I got family from that
the
area.
Booming metropolis of 2,500 people. We got Memphis radio. And to show you how old I am, and I don't even know if some of you even remember this guy, Rick Dees was the morning guy on WMPS in Memphis. And this was before he came out with Disco Duck, and which is a whole disco thing from the 70s. It actually became a #1 hit. It was kind of crazy. But loved the magic of radio. So when I was 15 in Berryville, Arkansas, a 3,600 person town,
Moving on up.
It's right. I got the opportunity to fill in, started board hopping Cardinal baseball games.
Oh, wow.
And Razorback basketball games and doing a 15-minute newscast at night. So I loved it. It's just the thing I always wanted to do, and that's how I started in radio.
Brad, how did you end up here?
So how did I end up here? I became a huge fan of radio.
Hey.
So I was a big fan of radio, and I would listen to the Annie Frey show every day. Just once I was... How I came across the Annie Frey show outside of her weekend shows and was the live stream whenever I was working as a substitute teacher. They needed somebody to fill in for ACR. Which
ACR?
ACR is alternative classroom.
Okay.
That's
the
how
kids
you
who get in trouble.
That's how you. That's a fancy way or a polite way of saying in school suspension. But
Always got to spruce it up.
right,
That's right.
The majority of kids that come into ACR are kids that got tardy violations and they get it in school.
Smoking in the bathroom.
Right. Well, they didn't have a regular ACR teacher, so they asked me to fill in. I was like, sure, I can do that. But the first day I was in there, no kids, because nobody's there. And so I was there for 2.5 months, and very rarely did we ever have a student because they just hadn't had time to build up those tardies to get
department yet.
Right.
You haven't been bad enough to get ACR yet.
Yeah. So I was sitting in there the whole time, just not doing anything. And then all of a sudden, the Annie Frey show popped up on my YouTube feed. And I was like, oh, Annie, I love her. I didn't know she streamed her show. And so I jumped into the chat and I started chatting and mixing it up with some of the, I don't know if he's listening today or not, but Kevin C. He's one of the old school fannies in there, and him and I would mix it up, and we'd have debates and stuff like that. And it just went from there. And then eventually, at one point, Annie reached out to me on Twitter, and she's like, hey, would you mind being a moderator of the chat? And so I got to do that for a long time.
Nice.
Well, whenever the position for producer opened up on Annie's show, Annie reached out to me, encouraged me that I should apply for that position. So I applied for that position, and the rest is history. Here I am.
I can't imagine what it's like that your only experience is what you two have had, where you started in major market radio.
Yeah, it's bizarre for me.
Yeah, good for you.
I still have
guys.
those moments.
I hate you
though.
both. Whatever.
Well, Hannah's
So,
story is
Hannah-
really good.
Yeah, so I actually started when I was I 15 or 16? I was in high school. My high school, Rockwood Summit, had an FM station, KFTN, and I was a student, and I was on the radio station there. I was program director my senior year. I loved it.
You gonna give Clay a shot?
Yep. Thank you, Clay Ziegler, for all the knowledge that you gave me. It still is there. It's a classic rock station, classic rock with a twist, KFTN.
Hey.
And I loved it, got a ton of exposure there, learned a ton. After I graduated high school, went to college, and I worked for a little itty-bitty nonprofit station, KWRH. Did that for a few months, and then I actually got reconnected with Matt Podjeski, who I went to high school with. He was on the high school station with me as well. He currently is the associate producer for Sports Open Line. So he got hired first here at KMOX and then told me about, you should apply for Odyssey. You can be a board op, whatever. So I applied there and got the job, worked, I think, maybe 2 shifts at KMOX. And then I started training here on 97.1, instantly fell in love, worked the morning show a little bit, met Annie, worked part-time forever, recently just got hired full-time.
Yay!
Now I'm doing Mark Cox Morning Show and the Annie Frey Show.
Wow.
Super happy. Can't wait to see what comes next.
Matt Podjeski's a great guy, by the way.
He is
I've worked with
amazing.
him when I get to fill in on KMOX sometimes.
Yes. So
I'm just
he's
here to
great.
fill in wherever Odyssey needs me. Microphone's open. Here, go say something.
That's perfect.
There you go. What's next?
All right. Next question is, what is your favorite TV series of all time?
Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Hogan's Heroes. Love that show. We'll still watch it today. If I sit down and it's on, I'm watching Hogan's Heroes.
Brad?
So this one, it takes me a long time, and I guess this would count, but it's not a regular TV series. It's a streaming series.
This feels like an ACR answer.
Well, it was on BBC for a while. It was on BBC for a while, but it was Top Gear, and then the cast of Top Gear left and became the Grand Tour on Amazon.
Yes.
Favorite show of all time.
My son watches that. He loves that show too.
So
those guys are funny.
The chemistry amongst those three is amazing. It's hilarious, and it's about cars.
Wow.
There you go.
And it's just everything that I love. And my wife even likes it. She doesn't care about cars, but she likes to laugh along with these guys as they treat one another the way they treat one another.
All right, Hannah.
My favorite TV series of all time has to be Grey's Anatomy. I have a sick obsession with it. I forget how many
Which is good
seasons
because it's a
there
hospital,
is.
so you'll feel
Right.
better.
I have rewatched seasons 1 through, I believe, 14. I think I've rewatched a total of 4 times.
Wow.
The recent seasons have gotten pretty woke, so I don't keep up with the recent seasons.
Right.
But the beginning of it was really, really good. Huge Grey's Anatomy's fan. So if you ever want to talk to me about that, I'm open to that. That is my favorite TV series of all time. All right. Our next question kind of correlates with our YouTube poll talking about Easter food. What is your favorite Easter dish? Not candy, but dish.
So I love the fact that at holidays, I always ask for this green bean casserole. And I never get it. It's got the little
the onions
fried,
on top?
yes,
Mhm.
and the cheese mixed with it, and it's got to be the like sliced green beans, whatever those are called, the ones that are in strips, not the whole green beans. I love that stuff. I only get it at Easter, Mother's Day, and Christmas.
It's important.
It is. That's it. Those are the only 3 times that I get it. So I'm like, that's my food.
Brad?
I am of...
What? That felt like a judgmental, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, I have a vendetta against green bean casserole because I made one for Thanksgiving for me and my gym friends, and it was just a bad experience. I burnt myself. The casserole turned out horrible. That's a dish that people love, and I was,
But if you make it wrong, it sucks.
It was so bad. So I have a vendetta against green bean
I
casserole
make green
now.
bean casserole for me and my gym friends. I'm like, gym friends, green bean casserole, not healthy.
Hey,
So-
cheat meals, we go ham.
When we go. So speaking of going ham, my favorite Christmas dish is ham.
Easter dish.
I'm sorry, Easter dish.
Christmas,
and Christmas
too.
Christmas.
Yes.
No, Christmas is a goose. Gotta have a Christmas
okay.
goose. I've never had Christmas goose. I can't say.
I
that
can't
that's my
either.
favorite.
No.
But ham.
That one time we hit that one on the street, but that was something we can't talk about.
The Christmas road bump. Anyway,
ham.
I don't like the glazed ham.
Oh,
smoked. I need it to be like salty.
Okay.
Not a sweet. I don't like the sweet ham. So ham as long as it's like a smoked ham.
All right, Hannah.
My favorite
Not
Easter
green bean
dish
casserole,
is
obviously.
not green bean casserole. I would say it has to be deviled eggs.
Ooh, yes.
Super good. I will put 2 or 3 of those on my plate easily.
My wife just she boiled 18 3 dozen eggs. 3 dozen. I walked in last night and they're back in the container. So we're going to have 36 of those.
Wow.
So deviled eggs are happening.
Next
I'm all
question is from Tommy from Facebook. He asks, Mr. Mike, do you have any future 97.1 appearances currently on the books? Love hearing you.
God love you, Tommy. I appreciate that. No one loves hearing me. So that's good. Not even at my house. I'm going to be on Monday back to anniefrey. So I'll be back on Monday. And then Mr. Reardon is taking off on the 28th. So I get to do the Mark Reardon show. So I'm going out to do show prep today.
Nice.
That's exciting.
I know. I love this. I love working here. It's so much fun.
All right, last question for this, and then we'll jump to a break, and then we'll come back. Hunter from YouTube asks, who does Justin Bieber belong with, Selena or Haley?
Who's he married to currently?
He's currently married to Haley Bieber.
Then that's who he belongs with.
I'm going to stick with that one, too. I just had an anniversary yesterday. I'm not looking to end the streak by picking someone that he's not married to. That would be bad. What do you think?
Hot take, Selena Gomez. We should get a break.
Hannah doesn't support marriage.
That is not true. That is not true.
The single girl thinks that the
who
homewrecker
does
should
he
happen.
belong with?
Doesn't she have somebody else, though? Isn't Selena? Doesn't Selena have somebody else?
I think Selena and Justin Bieber are soulmates.
But they're not married.
No.
And he's married to somebody else.
Maybe he shouldn't be.
Wow.
But he is.
I bet if you ask Kaylee, she would have a different hot take on that. So that, it's not going to happen. I like that. There was somebody who put a thing that said, devil died fried.
Yep.
And all of the above is the answer.
Yes, please.
It's
Yep,
Easter.
Scooter asked,
Yes.
devil died or fried. You're
Yes.
going all?
All.
All?
I'm an equal opportunity eater.
I think I'm going to go deviled and dyed, not fried.
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 Yes.
Interesting. All right, we can do more questions after the break if you want to.
I'm all about that. It's the Annie Frey Show. My name's Mike Elam, sitting in today for Annie. Hope you're having a good Friday. You still got time to weigh in on the poll before we do the results. So what's your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg? That hot take is coming up later on. It is the Annie Frey Show. You are listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Having somebody in the mortgage business when it comes time to purchase a home is important. And Stewie is your guy. He's my guy. I have refied with him twice. Both times I was able to lower my rate, and his rates aren't as low as they used to be before. Maybe you recently bought a house, maybe in the last 6-8 months or so. Well, rates have been sky high. Have they come down since then? You should check, because it doesn't cost you anything to go through a refinance with Stewart's American Mortgage when you use the Bagel loan. You're going to be able to get that lower rate secured, even if you just bought the house here recently. If the rates have gone down, you can work with the Bagel loan, and it doesn't cost you all those fees that usually make it punitive to go through that process. Here's what you do. Call or text 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. And reach out to him. Say, I heard about this on the Annie Frey Show. I'd like to know more information. If he can't help you, he's not going to try to work you into making a deal that's not going to benefit you. Google the Bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
If you like radically honest stories, you'll love the podcast Risk. Risk is where people tell true stories they never thought they'd dare to share. Like the one about the guy who cooked and served his own leg to his friends as tacos. Or the woman who found out the person she was sharing kinky fantasies with online was her dad. If you think you've heard it all, just wait till you hear Risk. Available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw, Tom's nephew. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is in linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online at retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review. Learn the strategies that have helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 36 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
There are a lot of smart business people out there making smart decisions by getting Rhino Shield. The latest one, the Central Illinois Care Services, they have decided to go with Rhino Shield on the outside of their building so they won't have to worry about maintenance from now on. The list is long. Joe's Tire out in Sullivan, Stonehill Wineries in Herman, they've all got Rhino Shield on their buildings. You can have it on your business or your house. Just call 877-25-RHINO. Let Darren come out and give you a free estimate as to what it would cost to get this great product on your home. 25-year transferable warranty, 100% waterproof, 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, and as a satisfied customer, 15 years in, I can tell you it looks as good as the day they put it on. You're going to love Rhino Shield. Call them right now. Tell them you heard about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show. Again, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Keeping you connected and aware. In the world, the country, and the community. And offering more ways than ever to listen conveniently. Tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk or download the Odyssey app. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
What is her name?
That is Elle King.
So Elle King is Rob Schneider's daughter.
Which is crazy to me.
I get it. And she kind of popped on the scene from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, okay, that was.
Now she's really on the scene.
She is huge. I mean, the first time I kind of caught with her was the Dierks Bentley song that she did. I know it's a whole country thing.
Different for girls?
Yes, I think that's what it was. So, are we still doing Ask Me Anything?
We
or
are.
Okay, so we're. I know we've got a diamond in the rough that is coming up.
Yes.
So we're going to get to that. But in the meantime, we're continuing on Ask Me Anything.
Yes. Don Phillips from our YouTube channel asked, Mike, which branch of the military did you serve and what did you do?
So I was a Navy corpsman, and I was only reserve, wasn't full-time, and it was back in the late 80s, early 90s. So we had nothing going on yet, and right as soon as I got out is when the Iraqi war happened.
Wow.
Desert Storm.
Next question is for Brad. Jack Jansen says, do you play Destiny 2? I'm assuming that's a video game.
Destiny 2 is a video game, and it's made by Bungie, who originally made Halo before 343 Studios took it over. I do not. I could never get into Destiny 1, and therefore Destiny 2 just didn't seem appealing to me. I like the play style.
Sounds like stripper names at this point. Destiny 1,
and
Destiny 2.
Holy cow.
Sorry. Happy Easter, everybody. He is risen. There you go.
Just could never get into it, so no, I don't play it. I have played it, but
Andrew Weber asked me, Hannah, do you play video games? Given the fact that I had to ask what a Destiny 2 is, was, or who they are, no, I do not play video games.
But she has friends who do.
Right. Next question comes from Paul. He asked us, what is the best and worst thing about radio?
Oh,
Answer
Lord.
wisely.
I'll let you guys start with that one.
So
Because you're doing it now.
Yeah, for me, the best part is the people that I get to work with. Working with Hannah, with Ryan, with Trisha, with Abby from the Reardon Show, Sue Thomas, Mark Reardon, Mark Cox,
There's
Carl.
one name that you are yet to name.
Annie.
There you go. Okay.
Mike. Just all the people I get to work with, it's just really great. It doesn't feel like I'm coming to work. It feels like I'm coming to hang out with friends.
I can see that, especially with this group.
So for me, that is the best part. The worst part, and it's really not even all that bad, but in my position, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So
ongoing.
Yeah. I mean, I could be booking people as guests all night long. We joke when because Annie and I keep an open communication on Twitter and stuff like that on DMs. And I get messages from her 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then she laughs and be like, I can't sleep. And it's like, that's all right. I wasn't sleeping either or whatever.
Wow.
So, yeah, the worst part is the never stopping. But like I said, it's not that bad. And that's just the nature of the news cycle, too. So you're always looking for content. And
if you were in music radio, you wouldn't have had that same issue.
Right.
It would be different.
My responses to this question, what is the worst and best thing about radio, really aligns with Brad. I truly love every single person I work with, not just in 97.1, but Odyssey as a whole. Every single person that works here is a friend of mine. Love all of them. The worst thing is it's really hard for me to unplug. I feel like I have a responsibility to, keep up with our listeners, keep up with the news cycle all the time. So it's hard for me to turn my work brain off. But it is important for me to do that just so I don't go crazy for the most part. So I would say that's probably the worst thing working about radio, but I feel like a lot of people deal with that with their jobs. So I don't think it's just radio specific, but there's a ton of benefits of working in radio, and I really love my job.
I loved working in radio. I did it for 27 years. It was so much fun. But I did music radio. This is my first time doing talk radio when I started filling in here. And thanks to Mark Reardon and Fred for having me on the Reardon Show, which led to this opportunity to come back and start hosting. So I loved that part. The people, I agree with you, Brad. The people is the most fun. And radio people, by the way, will eat anything if you just deliver it to the station.
Set it on that countertop out there?
You put it outside, you put it in the kitchen, it will disappear. It can be crap on a shingle. It doesn't matter.
So quick.
Someone will eat it. If you bring it to a radio station and someone puts it out in the kitchen, someone will eat it, and hardly anyone asks what it is or where it came from, which is very scary, but is also very true.
That's something I didn't know about radio was the amount of food that is here at all times. I used to work solely on the weekends, and Raina Ray from 96.3 is a cook.
Yes,
and
good,
she,
too.
Amazing cook.
Mm-hmm.
She would cook every weekend, and I would work from noon to 9 every Saturday, and I would not bring anything to eat because I knew she would be cooking me food, and it was great. And there's always food here, and
I
that's
used to
why
work
I have
with
to work
her
out.
at Magic, and yeah, she's only gotten better over the years. She's a better cook than she was then. I will tell you the worst thing about radio, and the one thing I would caution people about is it's really tough on your family. Radio is one of those careers where so many people that I've worked with over the years are divorced. And it's because of what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's ongoing all the time.
Right.
I got into radio and music radio because I wanted to meet girls and go to free concerts. and you get really tired of concerts because you have to go to all of them, even the ones that you really don't want to go, and you don't get a chance to enjoy the concert because you have to work it all the time. And then the girls that you meet, you realize real quick, wow, not the girls I wanted to meet. Not for a lot of different reasons.
Brad, this is really our first major market opportunity, and I also think we're lucky because of the day part that we work.
Right, you are. You
that
have
would be really
a life.
hard on your family.
Like we talked
if you
about
worked,
before. Middays are the best.
Yes.
Because you have the closest resemblance to a real life job.
Mm-hmm. I worked the morning shift for a couple weeks, and that was even really tough. You got to go to bed at
You do.
8 at the latest.
So you can't have a nightlife when all your friends are out.
Right. And if you work the nights, then your day's jacked up. And, so we're really lucky for our day part that we work. That would definitely affect your family.
So there you
if
go,
had
Paul.
something
Stay out
different.
of radio.
RSG asks, which Peeps are better, chickens or bunnies? Peeps being the candy. I'm going to say neither. Not to spoil my YouTube poll response, but I'm not a fan of Peeps at all, not even in the slightest, so I'm not a fan of the chickens or the bunnies.
Ditto.
Chickens.
No.
The chickens are better.
Peeps are
Straight
disgusting.
up, no.
I didn't say they were good. They
No.
asked which one was better.
Oh,
And I've
okay.
got a Peeps hack for you guys whenever we talk about that.
Okay.
Next question comes from Janine. She says, Mike seems to be such a super nice guy. Mike, what really tests your niceness? What makes you lose your ability to be nice?
Well, that is very nice of you. I appreciate that. And rude people. I don't sweat rude people easily. People who are just and being an elected official, you might imagine, I get a lot of folks who show up at county council meetings, and they will say things to you that they would never say to another person. And people will be super rude to their elected officials. You work for me, and you answer to me, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you do know that I pay taxes too, right?
Right.
So all the rules that I am a part of making, I have to live by those too, just like
Right.
you, right? So when people show up and they're just like super rude, you can disagree with me all day long. You don't have to think I'm an intelligent person. I respect your opinion all day long, but be respectful when you tell me I'm an idiot, right? Find a nice way to say that, and we can talk all day long. We can disagree, and we don't have to be disagreeable. If you are one of those people who can't disagree without being disagreeable, you will fire me up in a heartbeat.
G-Wibs ask, how long does it take for you guys to prep for the show?
So for me, it like I was saying earlier, it doesn't stop. I'm always prepping, always looking for something. And there are times when you're like, I think I've got this show prepped and ready to go. And then something happens right before you go on air and bang.
Yeah.
You're literally prepping as the show is on air.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think it's different every day. Some days. And it's kind of scary. It's kind of like when you work in an ER and you're like, oh, it's a calm day,
Yeah.
and then everything gets
Yeah,
crazy.
then there's a bus accident.
Right.
Exactly.
It's kind of like that. So every day is different, but I'm same with Brad. I could be at any time of the day and I see something that could be good content. I'm going to grab it, research it, pull it, all of that. But typically, I mean, I used to get here at 10 and I would help prep from 10 to noon. I get here earlier now, but I'm with the morning show and doing other things with Odyssey. So I start pulling music and pulling clips at 11. So typically an hour for me.
I think a good rule of thumb is double the time that you're on the air. So if it's a 3-hour shift, then you've got another 3 hours of prep that you're doing. And you may say, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes on. Yeah. But to Brad's point, there is always something happening. It's different in talk radio than it is in music radio. In talk radio, there is always something breaking, and you never know what's going to happen. And as soon as it happens in talk radio, you better address it. Right. You can't just let it go. If you notice it, that's why we have televisions all over this studio, because when something happens, you better be aware of it and figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the midday slot. So you get to have the normal life, but if something's going to break, it's going to break during this show usually.
Show prep never ends.
And so you got to be on your toes and ready to go.
Mark Reardon is out there show prepping right now, and he's about to be on the radio.
All right, one more question coming from our friend Balls. He says, Smooth Pipes Mike, can you just give me a shout out? My life will be complete if I can hear you say balls for you on the air.
What's up, balls for you? I got to meet him at the event out in O'Fallon.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
Love him.
He is
right?
great.
Super nice guy.
It gets back to this whole Fanny thing, man. The Annie Frey show just has some amazing listeners that are really cool. So I always love doing this show.
Great. Well, that was fun. Did you like the segment?
I did like
Your
that.
first time?
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm over being scared now. So we're good. It's like, hey, what's going to happen?
All right. Make sure you guys vote on our YouTube poll. It is asking of these choices, what is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg? What?
Oh, sorry. That was for me to pick up. Hey, you're the host guy now. You should do that host stuff that you do. Hey, it's Mike Elam sitting in if you haven't figured it out already. You are listening to the Annie Frey Show. She is enjoying a long Easter week/weekend, and she's going to be gone all the way until Tuesday. So I will be here with you for the next, 22 minutes, and then we'll be back on Monday. So thanks for hanging out. Make it as a part of your Good Friday on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
You work hard to heat and cool your house and make sure that you're in your comfort zone all the time. You want to make sure you're staying up to date on your HVAC system. Air Comfort Service knows that you care about this stuff. But have you checked your insulation? If you feel like your HVAC system, heating or air conditioning, running and it isn't doing the job the way it should be, maybe you need to check out your insulation. If you go to aircomfortservice.com/insulation, you'll learn about how they can work with you to make sure that your insulation is up to speed. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. Make sure that you reach out to Air Comfort Service to check the situation that you might be facing. You can call them at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091 and have them give you a free estimate. Air Comfort Service is there to provide you all of the things that you need, including your cooling system check. If spring is upon us, you want to make sure your cooling system is in good working order. Reach out to Air Comfort Service and have them do the maintenance on your air conditioner. Reach out to them online at aircomfortservice.com.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline online now. Call 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171. 800-873-7171.
If you want to see better in the new year, there's no better time to call Brenton Vision than right now. Mark Cox here. My friends at Brenton have everything you need to get the crisp, clear vision you've always wanted. Call them at 314-375-2020 or go online today to brentonvision.com. They are the only team in Missouri to perform all 7 FDA-approved forms of vision correction. That includes modern LASIK, permanent contact lenses, and if you have bad reading vision, they even have treatments for you too. So stop throwing your money away. My wife got lens replacement. She sees perfectly these days, and she loves it. Quit putting it off. If it's standing in your way of achieving your goals and your resolutions, Brenton Vision is here to help. Call them today at 314-375-2020. Tell them you heard Mark Cox talking about it. That's 314-375-2020. Or schedule right now at brentonvision.com.
How might this week's big stories impact your portfolio? Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale with Stifel. Join me and fellow Stifel financial advisor Eric Robert during On the Money every Saturday from 11 till noon right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Stifel, member NYSE and SIPC.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to $7,500 on a new hybrid HVAC system and save an additional 20% when bundled with attic insulation. This is a limited time offer. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Friday afternoon, it's our final stop on the 2023 Fish Fry Friday Tour, which is not easy to say, by the way. Join us in O'Fallon at the VFW Hall.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Aha. So when this song came out and they had the whole video, which was the comic book and him breaking out of the comic book and getting the girl and all that stuff.
Did it give you nightmares?
I hated this song. I just hated this song. I don't know why, but there's just some things that are fingernails on a chalkboard. Aha is that for me. So Thanks for taking me down a positive road on a Good Friday.
Right.
You had no idea. I'm so excited to see what happens next on this show.
Oh, really?
Because I have no idea what's coming up next.
Okay, we're going to do it.
The Diamond in the Rough. Brought to you by The Diamond Shop. TheDiamondShop.net.
So the Diamond in the Rough is a segment, we're carrying heavy news all week, and this is the part of the show where we just get to unwind and hear a positive news story.
Wait, those exist?
They're really hard to find, actually. I've asked for help before, and I'll probably have to again.
It's like digging a diamond out of the ground.
I get it. I see.
Nice.
Wait, my wife just texted me and said, this is sponsored by The Diamond Shop. I feel an anniversary present.
Ooh.
Hey.
And to the people over at the Diamond Shop, you are welcome.
There you go.
We'll send Mike right on over.
That's right. What is 32 years?
All right, this story comes from Fox News.
Uh-oh.
A Florida high school cross-country team runs with sheltered dogs to help get the pups adopted.
Nice.
A Florida cross-country team known as the Boss Cross has been helping sheltered dogs find new homes. For the last 6 years, the runners who attend George Steinbrenner High School in Lutz, Florida, have partnered with the Humane Society of Tampa Bay to help promote animal adoption. And their head coach, Allison Zanzbar, told Fox News Digital this. This idea came about in 2017 after Boss Cross team mom, I'm a mom from the team, saw an advertisement to volunteer with the Humane Society and shared it across the cross-country's team's coaching staff. So basically, this team will get the dogs from the shelter, run with the dogs, get them fit, get them active, and get the people in the town to know about these sheltered dogs, and it kind of works hand in hand for both of them. So I think that's great.
That
is very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
Have you ever ran with a dog?
No.
Have you ever ran?
No. Not unless someone is chasing me.
So
Yeah.
I did a...
I know you'd look at me and you would think, I'm
Yeah, I know,
probably
you're-
a marathon runner.
I look at you and I think runner, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking run. Well,
but
at least that's what most of the women think.
I used to run, and I would run up to a 5K 3 times a week.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I always thought, oh man, it'd be kind of cool to run with a dog. And but my dog is half English bulldog and half Shih Tzu.
Oh.
So he is thick and short, and he can't run.
And you drag him along with that leash.
So no, he stays home.
I certainly
He's
say.
like, if you know anything about bulldogs, they're a lazy breed.
Not big runners.
And so I've never ran with a dog. And then one time I was out riding my bike, and this lady was running with her boxer. Well,
as opposed to running in her boxers.
Right.
Hey.
Thank goodness. So as I'm coming up behind him, I startled the dog. The dog freaked out and cut in front of her, and her and the dog took a tumble, and she looked hurt really bad. And I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm not going to run with the dog. But I stopped, and she was okay and stuff like that, scraped knee and whatnot. But I felt really bad after that. And the dog was very mad at me because I scared it.
I'm sure.
Ooh, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Every time I've ran with a dog, I've never ran with just one dog. I used to run with 2 dogs, and the dogs would race each other, and then I would get dragged behind. So I put that to a stop immediately.
I'm running with my dogs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Do we want to get to the YouTube poll question?
By all means.
All right, today's
Hold on.
YouTube.
Are we doing that now, or do we have?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we had one more to go. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, we're in the last segment, Mike.
Yep.
Oh,
this thing flies.
Okay.
It really, really does. So today's YouTube poll question is asking, of these choices, what is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Egg, Chocolate Bunny, or Reese's Egg? Let's go around the room and say. Brad?
So I know that I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers here, but I'm going with the Cadbury Egg. That is my favorite.
Really?
Yes, I love the Cadbury Egg.
I don't even know that I've ever tried a Cadbury
It's so
Egg.
unique.
What
that I
is
love
it?
So it's a chocolate egg shell with a cream-filled center.
It's a chocolate eggshell with goo in the middle.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
That is my best way to describe what is in the middle of that egg.
But it's good.
It's good goo.
Yeah, and the thing about it is Cadbury is an English chocolate company.
Yes.
And British chocolate, way better than anything we have over here.
Really?
Oh, man. I got a British chocolate sampler pack, and it was 3 of the 5 bars in the pack were Cadbury. And it's just a different kind of milk chocolate. It's just so good.
It's that shelf milk.
Yeah.
that has to be refrigerated once
Here we go.
open.
That has been the biggest topic.
Hey,
of this
that's just a
show.
callback. All right, where are you going on your candy?
I have an easy runaway response for this, the Reese's Egg. Hands down, nothing else can compare the Reese's Egg. It's soft. It is so, so, so good. That is what I hope the Easter Bunny brings me every year.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
What?
I'm just not a big candy person.
Really?
I'm really not. Of everything that is on this list, I would probably say my most tolerable will be a chocolate bunny.
Oh.
Peeps, I think you're completely disgusting. Used to love Peeps when I was younger, but I'm not 12, so I'm done with that. The Cadbury, I like the chocolate shell.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what that goo is in the middle, and a little of that goes a really long way for me, right? I don't know about the Reese's Egg. I don't know.
Oh, you got to try one.
I don't know. What's the difference in a Reese's Egg and just a Reese's?
Ooh, that is a really hard question. I don't know how to describe it. I think the Reese's Eggs are softer, and it makes a difference. It kind of feels almost whipped.
The peanut butter in it?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
It's really, really good. We've gotten a ton of comments, a lot of fiery comments on this poll, which just blows my mind. Patrick Fleer from YouTube says Cadbury Eggs are his favorite, but only the caramel filled.
Ooh,
I'm
I'm good with that. Yeah,
I'm down with that.
I'm down with chocolate and caramel. I'm in.
Marley Paxton from YouTube says that she really loves them all. Mark P says, as a kid, I thought the Cadbury eggs were cool, but my favorite is the robin eggs. What's a robin egg?
Those are those little ones, right?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's what Rachel was eating.
I think that's what Rachel was eating at her desk. They were the little small chocolate. But I wonder if the robin eggs are the candy shell
Yeah.
eggs. Yeah. So they're a little different.
Libby Dominic says, I can't even answer this poll. Easter candy is gross.
Oh,
Send me
man.
an Easter Swedish fish, and I'm in. Really?
I can't differ with that.
Al Johnson says, just give me a 2-pound bag of malted speckled eggs. Now that I've tried. Is that a robin egg?
I think that's the robin egg.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Those are really good. Amanda Renkins says, Peeps and Cadbury eggs are nasty. Reese's for the win, y'all. Totally agree with you.
There you go.
Jennifer Harris says that she voted for Peeps. She just bought 5 packages of them today. I love them.
Wow.
Haters gonna hate. Wow.
Wow. Now, didn't you say you
I
had
do.
some-
I have a Peeps hack.
What,
So
what the heck does that mean?
So
a Peeps
Peep is
hack?
Peep is essentially a marshmallow.
Yeah.
And so like
with some disgusting crust thing
well,
on it.
it's sugar on the outside.
Okay.
So the Peeps hack is to use them to make s'mores.
Okay.
So you use the Peep, and whenever you heat it up over the fire, the sugar on the outside caramelizes, and it mixes with that marshmallow really good. And then when you put it on a good piece of chocolate with a graham cracker, it changes the texture and the flavor of the s'more in a really good way.
I think that would be the only way I would ever try a Peep again, would be in a s'more.
Yep.
I'd be down to try that. Joe from YouTube says, stale Peeps should be another category. They need to be sitting out for a solid week before eaten. So I guess that means he voted for Peeps in the poll, but specifically stale ones.
He's the one who goes back for the after Easter candy sale, and he buys those Peeps and says, I need those to sit
That's
around.
a total Wiggins move, too.
I kind of thought that Peeps were all stale, but maybe I was wrong.
Don Phillips said, Reese's eggs are my favorite, but very close second is the marshmallow egg in the cartons. Happy Easter. What is that?
It's just what it sounds like. It's a marshmallow egg.
I don't think I've had that.
I've never tried one.
If I remember
of those.
correctly, it's chocolate covered marshmallow in the shape of an egg.
How can I have lived this sheltered of a life?
Man, did you get an Easter basket whenever you were a
We
kid?
were poor, man. We were poor. My dad was a Southern Baptist minister. We didn't have any money.
My parents grew up and they would say they were poor and, you know, they're lucky. They said we never felt like we went without, but we didn't have money for the extras. But because they didn't do that, they would always shower us with the extras. So we'd come down, we'd get an Easter basket. It would be loaded with candy and it would have some sort of toy or something in it. And each one of us would get one of those big chocolate Easter bunnies.
Oh,
which
wow.
if you put those, the hollow ones, if you put those in the freezer, way
Break
better
your
than
tooth off.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got to get the hollow one. You can't get the solid one. Otherwise, you got to cut it with a knife. And
Zig Ziglar always talked about where he grew up poor in Yazoo, Mississippi. And he said, we never wanted for something, but I felt like we never really had anything, but we always had plenty. And I know that because every time I asked for seconds, they said, no, you've had plenty. Miss that guy. Sorry.
All right,
Back to our poll.
A few more comments. Ken Reed said, Peeps belong in the trash can. I agree with you there. Jaded Zelda said, Robin eggs are yummy with the Whopper middle. So a lot of people are voting for
the malted milk balls is essentially what
for
those
the
Robin
egg.
Oh,
which
okay.
Wasn't on
Wow, I
the
went all
poll.
Burger King on that Whopper road. I was like, what?
Ew, that would be gross.
I was leaning for the trash can for a second, but I'm back now. Thanks for playing.
just a Whopper in the shape of an egg.
I'm like,
it's like the
no.
heart-shaped pizza on
That's
Valentine's
like
Day.
the Impossible Whopper. That's not a Whopper.
Carlo says, I chose the Cadbury Egg, the bunny chocolate, which is available at any time, so that's why he didn't vote for that. The Reese's Egg is the same as the pumpkins and the Christmas trees, and Peeps are not the best. So he really broke it down for us of why he chose
That was
the
Carlo?
Cadbury Egg.
That was an in-depth discussion of breaking down your Easter candies.
Carlo is an expert on candies.
It sounds like it.
Him and
great.
Ryan could have a whole podcast together.
That is something.
What do you think Ryan Wiggins would have voted on this poll? I'm going to say Peeps, just because it's gross.
Yeah, because he doesn't do the chocolate thing so much, and all the other three are chocolate based. So I think he would have gone Peeps.
See, if we're going chocolate bunny thing, I'm with you on the. I need to have the hollow chocolate bunny.
Hollow chocolate bunny.
Because the other chocolate bunny, that's like way too much chocolate for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to get the white chocolate bunny in my Easter basket,
Ooh.
and I just feel sick thinking about it because it would be so big. And, you know, when you're 7 years old, you have to eat all of it just because it's exciting.
Exactly.
And ew.
Watch your kids get deathly ill. Give them a big thing of chocolate and watch them just eat it all.
Not just chocolate, white chocolate.
White chocolate.
White chocolate.
White chocolate.
Ugh.
I saw that band once. They were horrible.
All right, so here are the results for the YouTube poll, which is of these choices, what is your favorite Easter candy? Peeps, Cadbury Eggs, Chocolate Bunnies, or Reese's Eggs? With over 120 votes, 48% of the people said Reese's Egg, which is great.
I think she fixed it.
I did not. 23% of the people said the Cadbury Egg. 22% of the people said the Chocolate Bunny. And 7% of the freaks out there said Peeps.
7% of the freaks out there. Hey, you eat whatever Easter candy makes your Easter good, right?
Yep.
You
Right.
go out and you enjoy that. Hey, guys, I've had a great time. I got 2 times in 1 week. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you got another one coming up, too.
I know. So you have a great Easter weekend. We will catch you on the other side of your Easter weekend. I'll be back here on Monday with the whole crew, getting ready to go join Mark Reardon and the Reardon Roundtable that is out in O'Fallon. They are right across from Ethel's. It's the last fish fry, man. Get it while you can. Thank you guys for hanging out today on the Annie Fry Show. We will talk to you on Monday. Happy Easter from 97.1 FM Talk.
And I got bad tattoos you won't believe. So kick out the jams, kick up the soul, pour another glass of that rock and
Hi,
roll.
this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair